a bit more lately, it might be time to have your hearing checked. At Connect Hearing, we don't just fit hearing aids, we help you hear life again. From tiny in-the-ear styles to Bluetooth connected devices, we fit the best solution for you. Call 074 911 3296. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Charge into summer with TUI. Choose from a beach cruise or city break or Mexico flying direct from Dublin. Holiday sorted. TUI, live happy.
The Naughty Alarm Clock.
The Naughty Alarm Clock.
Highland Radio.
Sure, there you have it, Gregory. Got your buns and everything. Seamus Devine brought you in.
Good man.
Bun. Lovely. Did you see many?
Where are they though?
They're all in the kitchen.
Well, you see, they're not survived till noon.
Well, you see, I did. Now you asked me, did I go out to do a fart when I went out to the van? You know what?
Quite what I said.
What did you say? What did you say?
Did you go out for a bang bang?
No, you didn't say bang bang. You said a different word. And I says no. I went out to the van. Well, I there was gluten free buns for me, so I took them out because I'm gluten free.
Yeah, why couldn't I eat gluten free?
Well, you could, of course, but there's loads of buns that's not gluten free for you. Okay. There, you see.
That's good. I'll have one hopefully before the show's out.
Yeah.
What's the plans for the weekend?
Stuff.
Yeah.
I go into the gym now, 10 o'clock, and then take it from there. Then.
You're a buck. All right. Enjoy. See you.
Have a good day.
In the wild later this evening.
What's that?
Are you not going out in the wild later this evening?
Yes, I am going down. Yeah, to the wild.
All right, good luck. It's Friday's 9 till noon show. Our Friday panel going to be joining us very shortly, but let's get a news update at 9 o'clock, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Carelon Global Solutions Ireland has confirmed 24 jobs will be lost in Donegal as it ceases its operations in Ireland. The company, which provides digital integrated solutions for the healthcare industry, has been based in Ireland for the past 4 years. In a statement, Carelon says after careful consideration and a consultation process, a decision has been reached to cease operations. The wind-down process is expected to take place over the coming months and be completed by the end of this year. Yesterday, the Minister for Social Protection, Darragh Leary, confirmed that he had contacted Carelon to ensure employees were aware of the supports available to them. Donald Trump's tariffs have been temporarily reinstated by a federal appeals court. It comes a day after a panel of 3 judges ruled the US president exceeded his authority when implementing the taxes on foreign-made goods without congressional approval. That decision's been paused while the government's appeal is considered. Donegal County Council is being urged to make its black and minority ethnic inclusion strategy widely available across the county. Councillor Terry Crossan made the call following the recent launch of the Northwest Anti-Racism Charter. Donegal's BME inclusion strategy aims to send a clear message that there is no place for hate in the county and only respect and a shared sense of community is welcomed. Councillor Crossan believes it's essential access to the document is easily accessible.
I would like to see it more widely circulated and promoted. To begin with, in all county council offices, all county council premises, and then made more widely available to other schools, businesses, and any community groups that would want to promote it.
The HSE West and Northwest is advising people to be aware of where they can seek care for their mental and physical health this June bank holiday weekend. They say while bank holiday weekends can represent relaxation for some, for those struggling with their mental health, they can be challenging. Tara Dugan has more details.
The HSE West and Northwest says hospital, community and mental health services will be on hand over the weekend to ensure the right care is given at the right time and in the right place. As bank holiday weekends are usually a busy time for acute and community health services, the HSE says it may result in long waits at EDs. People are being urged to seek alternative care pathways as a result. Out-of-hours GP services will be in operation, while urgent GP appointments can be booked by contacting NowDoc. Many agencies providing mental health support can be accessed without a referral, and more information is available on hse.ie.
Weather now breezy, humid and mostly cloudy with outbreaks of rain and drizzle. Mild today with lowest temperatures of 10 to 13 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
This May, there are 9 must-be-won prizes of €250,000 for Irish Euromillions players. Not maybe won, must be won in May. Play Euromillions for your chance to be one of 9 guaranteed winners of an extra €250,000. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly, play for fun.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It's 4 minutes past 9 on this Friday, the 30th of May 2025. I hope you're very well indeed, and you're welcome along to the last 9 till noon show of this week. And it's the usual busy one, the usual mix. We have our last entertainment slot in its current format for the summer. That's coming up with Michael and Fanula at 11, and lots on between 10 and 11. And for the next hour, we are in the company of our Friday panel. Let's introduce them to you. Leonard Watson, owner of Watson's Menswear, Letterkenny. Good morning to you, Leonard. How are you keeping?
Not too bad. Thanks very much, Greg.
We also have Kathy Donaghy, journalist and author. Hi, Kathy. Great to have you on the programme as always.
Morning, Greg. Hi, guys.
And I'm doing great. I hope you're well too. And Hugh Friel, who's Aroma Health Coordinator at Northwest Region with the Donegal Travellers Project. Good morning, Hugh. All right, okay. Hopefully your sound improves. I'll come back to you in a sec. Leonard, lots to get through at the moment. Just your views as a business person on the debate that's been raging all week about traffic. It's a tough one, isn't it, for those in the community, in the business community, because once you get into Letterkenny, there's plenty of parking. You can move around quite freely. You don't want to discourage anybody else from coming into Letterkenny, but also too, it must be hard to ignore that it's clearly more difficult to get around now, and there are concerns that the new active travel plans might actually worsen the situation. As a Main Street business person, do you have a view?
Well, Greg, do you know what? I would always be of the opinion that the day we have no traffic in Letterkenny is worse than actually having traffic. But this plan, the active travel, I get where they come from, but we would feel actually there's certain parts should have came first, like the whole bus network should have came first. At the end of the day, we're trying to get people who are living in the town maybe to use the car less, so the buses would actually help there straight away. So the active travel plan is as good as it probably will in the future be a help. We do think that maybe there's other parts should have came first, like.
But I suppose it's a wait and see. The money was there, the plans have been approved. We have to sort of see what the implications of it might be.
Yeah, but Greg, I still say if there was other parts put in place first, this wouldn't be as big an issue. Like the bus, like what we've seen the plans for the bus network, and you'll be able to get on and off a bus every half hour and in different spots. And the guy I work with, his son's at Sligo, and that's the way it works at Sligo, and it's absolutely brilliant. The student issues it all the time. And that's the kind of things we need to get traffic moving. We're always going to have pinch points at certain times of the day because, there's 10,000 people come into Letterkenny every day to work. We have 4,000 or 5,000 students come in at least. We're a hub, and the bridge is an issue. Like, the Port Bridge, we've got one bridge that kind of services the whole other end of the county. So, but there's still factors that could put in, like the park and ride thing, all that kind of stuff could be put in place very quick. Within a short certain time, that would actually alleviate a lot of. We're never going to sort of traffic problems. Even when we get the bridge, it'll not sort the traffic problems. But I still say we need traffic in the town too, like.
Yeah, of course, exactly. We never want to discourage it, but when so many people are raising issues, you kind of have to address them. Hugh Friel, I'm not sure how much you travel in and around Letterkenny, or what's your view in this regard?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, carry on, Hugh.
I think I think we've massive issues in terms of traffic and the gesture of traffic. If you look at the morning time when people are commuting to go to work in the morning time, like you have to leave your house. Maybe I live in Ballyaron, and I know certainly that to get in for 9 o'clock, I need to leave at 8 o'clock, 10 past 8. That's 40 minutes. And the evening time, I can do the same journey for 10 minutes. So them I suppose congested traffic issues needs to be addressed in relation to, you know, even the Port Road at the Polestar roundabout. That road, the sign of emergency services come in there is just unbelievable that millions and millions have been put onto a road and not designed to cater for emergency ambulance or Gardaí or fire brigade. So we need a really congested plan in relation to how we use our services better, how we introduce, you know, park and ride, and maybe look at escalating people on buses from outside Letterkenny a little bit, where there's appropriate car parks where you can leave your car, come into the town. You know, we always want a bit of traffic, but sitting in traffic for an hour and a half is not viable. And then, you know what I mean, in terms of the economy, in terms of, you know, the fumes and the global warming, we have to take all them things into consideration as well.
Kathy, from polling, you know, over the course of the week on this issue, people have no issues with active travel as such. It just seems to be a planning thing that we're sort of starting a jigsaw in the middle, or we're putting the cart before the horse. All of this are fundamentals to a growing modern town. It's just that they seem to be happening at the wrong point in the process.
That seems to be the way. Greg, it's very clear that, I mean, Letterkenny has, you know, grown up probably exponentially, like, you know, in terms of the population. It's a huge town now. It's a huge catchment area. You know, it is definitely a failure of planning when you see that you might want to go, like from where I live in Inishowen, you might want to go to Kilmacrennan, Dunfanaghy, beyond. Like, if there was a way of bypassing the town, which is really, really needed at this stage. And I know maybe, you know, Leonard wants, you know, you want that footfall, but we've seen in other towns around the country, like there's a town I'm familiar with, Carrickmacross was bypassed, Monaghan Town was bypassed. The town centres are thriving in those towns. Do you know what I mean? Especially Monaghan Town, where they've done a lot of work to encourage people in. So I do think that there's going to have to be major infrastructural development, which probably in the short term will cause more upheaval. But you really need people that don't need to necessarily be in Letterkenny, but also Letterkenny for Donegal. Letterkenny is seeing itself as the hub, as the, you know, you want to attract visitors to Letterkenny, to the town's nightlife and restaurants and everywhere else, you know, so as they can go on and they can go off to Kilcar or use it as their base when they're travelling around Donegal. Right now, it's just bedlam. It's not attractive to sit there in traffic. You want to go to a town where you can get into easily. You can, you know, go up to the Cathedral Quarter. You can go to your nice restaurants. Right now, I don't think that's a viable option. And it really is up to everybody to really try and fix this.
Yeah, okay.
The thing I'll say, Greg, like you're always tracking with traffic, but you're chatting about maybe 2 hours a day. You're chatting from 8 to 9, and like, and Kathy's chatting with Carrickmacross. No disrespect to Carrickmacross. Carrickmacross is a village compared to Letterkenny. Letterkenny
that's true.
Is the biggest town in the country. Like, it's the fastest growing town. Like, you know, I was in Dublin there recently, and it took me an hour and 10 minutes to drive 2.5 miles. Like, you know, so you know, we're chatting about a thriving town, and we shouldn't be, you know. We shouldn't run down the town. Like, at the end of the day, I'm on about times in the morning, times in the evening. But every other hour of the day, the traffic moves in the town. Like, you know, we see on maybe a certain wet day where the schools are getting out at the one time, but that's just it's like geography times. You know, like all the factories are getting out at the one time, all the schools are getting out.
I think there are those that might be coming in the Ramelton Road that might argue it's not just for a couple of hours a day. But the one thing it's important to note, I think, Leonard, whether you live in Letterkenny, whether you do business in Letterkenny or from anywhere in the northwest, everyone wants the same thing. They want a town that's comfortable to access, but they also want to be able to get other places too if they wish to. So I think everyone's on the same page about wanting Letterkenny to maximise its potential and continue to grow and prosper as it is. But you can't ignore realities of life in terms of moving around, Leonard.
But it is politics too, Greg. Like, we're waiting 30 years for a bridge, and that bridge won't solve everything. Like, but you're on about Carrickmacross being bypassed, Monaghan they've all got their bypass. Letterkenny's been waiting 30 years for a bridge. Like, you know, and that's politics. Like, that's nothing to do with the town. The town has still grown even with all the restraints on it with infrastructure. Like.
All right, okay. Listen, lots to digest. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number if you wish to get involved in that conversation. We're going to be talking health next.
At Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, Donegal Town, they have fantastic packages on full home renovations. Whether you're looking to update your kitchen, bedroom or living room, visit cherrymore.ie. Proud sponsors of today's show.
Fly EasyJet from City of Derry Airport to Edinburgh, Liverpool, or now from the 1st of September, Birmingham. Book now at easyjet.com. Get out there.
It's the Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale ends Sunday.
The Irish Independent says the all-new Dacia Bigster offers style, comfort and agility. It's the big family car with big space, big tech, a big boot and big hybrid power with a not-so-big price tag. From an incredible €29,990 with low-cost finance options available. Visit your local Dacia dealer to find out more. Price excludes delivery and related charges. T's and C's apply, subject to lending criteria. Offers are limited. See dacia.ie.
Get great value at Tesco this bank holiday. Enjoy some treats that'll last all weekend long with large crisps like Doritos and Pringles, Cadbury Twirl multi-pack and 7-Up Zero Sugar 2-litre bottles, any 3 for €5. And kick back with Diet Coke and Coke Zero cans 18-pack, now €10. Can't argue with that. Get more from your shop with your Tesco Club card or app. Shop in-store or online. Tesco. Every little helps. Available in most stores. Prices vary and express. DRS applies.
Need a van that's ready for summer work? At iMotors, get a €500 fuel voucher on a new Nissan LCV with 4.9% finance, including the versatile Premister and the all-new Interstar. Every model comes with a 5-year manufacturer warranty, so your business stays moving worry-free. Upgrade your van now and get to work. Summer won't wait. Visit iMotors in Letterkenny or Malin.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Finance is provided by AIB and is subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. AIB is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Failure to meet repayments may affect your credit rating.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time's at 9:15. Before moving on, Leonard, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, like, it was great just before that break to hear sort of a pushback from the business community on the narrative, because I think it's kind of been absent in this whole conversation, you know, despite efforts to sort of, you know, get a sense of what the business community feels, you know, and as I say, I think more of that's what is required, you know, to get that story out there as well.
Like, Greg, I keep saying, like, you know, you look at Kenny for the shop and the restaurants. We are a massive town, like, and we, you know, we should be proud of that too. Every large town has traffic problems, you know, but that's part of the.
Yeah.
You know, what I love the traffic flow around the town. Like, you know, I hear people saying, "Oh, 20 years ago the traffic flowed around the town." Well, 20 years ago the town was half the size, and you know, so like, and I still say, like, Greg, I go around the town a lot. Like, there is pinch points at certain times, and we all know that, and we have to just adapt or travel to that.
It's just good to hear the business voice in this conversation. Right, this week it was confirmed at a regional level, at least, that Letterkenny University Hospital is not being considered for a surgical hub. Just so people are aware, surgical hubs, of which there are 6, provide general surgery, dermatology, gynecology, ophthalmology, ENT, orthopedics, pain relief, plastic surgery, urology. The hubs can also be used for non-complex procedures, for example, varicose veins, hernia repair, other keyhole surgery, stuff that, some of that stuff not available at the moment. A surgical hub, though, will be established in Sligo. Instead, there are plans, and they are just plans, being floated for an ambulatory centre for Letterkenny, which is claimed, in the most simplest of terms, is bigger and better than a surgical hub. But best estimates that is years away. There is a window of opportunity here because the business plan for Sligo has not yet been put on the desk of the Health Minister. She has not signed off on whether it's Sligo or Letterkenny, or, as many would want, both. I'll stay with you, Leonard, because you're up on my screen. If called on, do you think the public would back those in the medical field who've written extensively about this last year in an effort to reverse the decision, throng the streets of wherever that might be? Or is it, are the public not really engaged on this issue?
Well, you know what, Greg, like, this is back to the same old narrative, like, Sligo, Galway, like, I look at somebody now from Sligo, I was just looking at last night, somebody from Sligo had to come to Letterkenny, it's an hour and a half. Somebody from Anishowen has to go to Sligo, that's 2.5 hours. But so, you have Sligo to Galway, which is another 2 hours trip. So really, we should have had something like that up here. Like, at the end of the day, we're the poor neighbour all the time. Like, and I always think we are reactive. We're not proactive. We should have been shouting about this a year ago, Greg, like when this has been talked about. Again, I'm only hearing about this now as the decision's nearly going to be made. I've heard you chatting to the minister, and she said the decision hasn't been made yet. Them decisions are made, Greg. I don't care. I just don't believe it's not made. But we're too reactive up here. That we should be. We should be back in the health system up here and getting out on the streets about it, like. But our politicians should be shouting louder too, Greg. They'll tell you they're shouting, but I seen even with the Little Angels thing, perfect example. Me and you knew for 3 or 4 years that school wasn't big enough, but still, until the school was nearly ready to open, then the reaction was, this should have been done 3 or 4 years ago. We shouldn't be having these conversations when the decision is about to be made. Like,
yeah, I will say you're not wrong, but in the letters that were published last year, and we covered them extensively from the consultants, they did call for the urgent need for a surgical hub. Like, they have been banging on the drum, but in terms of it being screamed from the rafters in the Dáil, I'm not saying it hasn't been mentioned, but considering health is so important, I'm really surprised it hasn't been getting more traction from our TDs.
But that's what I'm saying, Greg. We're only starting to hear about this recently as Joe Public about the importance of this hub. But again, you said there a year ago, you were seeing documents about it. Like, where has the will to get this in Letterkenny or in Donegal from our TDs and our politicians? I don't know. I just find there's a silence time. They'll speak about once in the Dáil, but where's the momentum? Like, where's the momentum to keep this going, to make sure this happens for Donegal? Like,
a TD has potentially have the opportunity, for this to be their legacy effectively, that all they did for the most part was talk about stuff like this. But we don't seem to do politics like that anymore. Kathy, it is, again, as much as we have such amazing things in this county, it's just a constant struggle, battles on matters such as health. And it seems, if you look at the investment plans for Galway University Hospital, for Sligo University Hospital, and then you look at what's planned for Letterkenny University Hospital, in black and white, it is quite concerning.
It's sort of it does feel like the poor relation. There's no doubt about that. I think we touched on this when we talked about traffic, and we talk about infrastructure and the population growing and Letterkenny needing. So much needs to change. I think there's something that really bothers me when it comes to stories like this around the health services. It's almost like when people are sick, they don't have the energy to protest, or their families are too immersed in looking after their loved one. They don't have the bandwidth to get out on the street and protest. And I actually think, there's a cynicism at the heart of this. The government knows that. They know that the people who are impacted most by these decisions do not have the bandwidth to get out and protest. And in a way, that's when we should be shouting the loudest. And when the rest of us are, having loved ones, in services or needing that care, it's not when we're sick that we should be making the noise about this. It's when we're all well that we should actually say, not good enough. Not good enough. I find this really, really cynical that it's the health services, and there are people who really, really need these services and would need that surgical hub and things like, we know that cancer patients, and there are wonderful teams of people in Letterkenny Hospital. Anybody who's been through breast care knows the professionalism of the unit and the oncology team in Letterkenny. But the figures speak for themselves. 31% of cancer patients receive chemotherapy within the recommended 15 days, compared to 62% at Galway and 73% in Sligo. Like, what's that? What is this about? Why are the differentials so great when it comes to Letterkenny
Just in relation to
Hospital?
that one statistic, thankfully, because it was covered so widely, I suspect, that 31% has increased to around about the 70 mark, but that's only in the last couple of months, Kathy, and that's only because I believe arguably because of campaigning. Exactly, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
when we were talking about, and that's the point, Greg. We've got to be talking about things like these. I mean, this is basic healthcare in this day and age. You know, all of us know someone who's taken that road to Galway or Sligo for healthcare, and they're so grateful to receive the care. But, we need to be shouting about what's needed on our doorstep so people don't have that journey, so they can have that care right on their doorstep.
Hugh, I don't want to guilt trip anyone because we all have busy lives. But if you have Relay for Life, you've got thousands of people that attend the event itself and many thousands more that will donate. If there's a tragedy in the county, people en masse will donate to it and are clearly very moved from it. Yet here we have a situation at the moment where the future of Letterkenny University Hospital is at a very critical stage here. We heard from the consultants and doctors last year, it's at crisis point. But if you were to organise a protest in relation to it to try and argue for increased resources, a special case to be made of Letterkenny University Hospital, a surgical hub for Letterkenny, would you get 500 or 600 people out to a protest? I think you would potentially struggle. Why is that?
I think, Craig, that it's probably because people have lost heart in the political system and lost kind of the awareness of being part of that democracy in terms of them advocating for the surgical hub in Letterkenny. And for the geographical county of the size of Donegal, we go back into Glencomilkill, Kilcar, down into Dunlow, Ironmore Islands, Tory Island. I worked with an individual who was expected to come from an island to cancer and the services in Galway from Ironmore Island and to get the bus at 9 o'clock in the morning to go up there. So it's really unrealistic when we talk about we're the forgotten county. But I think we need to be accountable as well. I think we need to get out. We need to protest. Our hospital, Letterkenny Hospital, is in crisis. It is in crisis. The waiting time in Letterkenny is not 4 hours. The waiting time is around 8 hours to 10 hours. So we have to be very realistic when it comes to this. I was speaking to a doctor in Letterkenny Hospital one evening, and he told me that he was on shifts for 12 and 13 hours for 5 days in a row, and he was exhausted. He told me that himself. He said, "I'm exhausted." He said, I'm ready to fall asleep." He said, "I'm just totally out on my feet." And I think when we're coming to our health service and we have our doctors who's looking after our loved ones and ourselves, and nurses who are exhausted, who are on the brink of crisis. Like, I think it's unbelievable when it comes to Letterkenny and what we're not talking about Letterkenny. We're talking about the whole county of Donegal. This is bigger than the Letterkenny thing. People talk about our town, Letterkenny, the hospital's in Letterkenny. The hospital's in Letterkenny, but it's a county hospital. It's not a Letterkenny hospital. It's a county hospital. So I think that that surgical hub would be essential, Craig, in relation to alleviating and taking the pressure of A&E. And that's what every GPs at the minute that you ring, you can't get an appointment, right? It's very, very difficult. There's a waiting time of a week. It could be 2 weeks. What does a person do in that sense? They go to A&E. They get worried, they get stressed, they panic, so they go to A&E to see a doctor. It's clogging up the system. And what we need to do is alleviate that. We need to start getting our services and the appropriate service in here, like a surgical hub, who can take away some of the pressure that A&E is facing at the minute.
Yeah,
and I think that's very essential. I think we had TDs shouting about iPad centres and representing. They need to call out the government on this. They need to call out the Minister for Health on this. They need to have an urgent meeting with her in relation to the geographical spread of this county. They need to advocate more and lobby more, as Ms. Watson said. It's let them be heard. We elected them and the local politicians to represent us. We shouldn't have to go out and protest. They're our elected bodies. They're elected TDs in this county that should be bond together in relation to the health crisis what we're facing in this county. And that's the whole county Donegal. I'm not talking about just Letterkenny. And I think we relate that too much, the word Letterkenny. This is Glencomilkill, Kilcar, Killybegs, Dunlow, Iron Island, Tory Island, and a Shown area. So we're talking geographical spread of Donegal back to the far corners of it. What access is that for people? And we talk about it's handy for us to go to Sligo, and sometimes it's an hour and a half, 2 hours. What about somebody down the low to Ironmore Island, down around the Carndona and the Shown areas, 2.5 hours, 3 hours to go to Galway? So we have to be realistic, Greg, when it comes to this.
Yeah, 2 hours before you get from Malin to Donegal town, let alone the journey on. But Kathy, there is a window of opportunity here, and to the point about sort of where the political will is here, because we're heading towards summer recess at the moment. There are question marks over. Sorry, the decision certainly could be worthy of scrutiny, because the argument was made that population was considered in the decision to locate this hub in Sligo, and I hate this either or, it could be both. But anyway. But Sligo obviously has much less of a population than Donegal. The health minister, as recently as this morning, says that she hasn't received the business model yet. So there is an opportunity to pressure the health minister, who only has the information that she has, to go back to the HSE and say, right, hold on a second, I've got some very strong representations here from Donegal. Explain to me the logic of your decision and the business case and why you made that decision. She is the head of it. She can push it back. So, as I say, now is the chance, if you have a voice in the Dáil or the Seanad, now is the chance to at least get the health minister to scrutinise this decision before she signs off on it.
I think that's a really good point, Greg. Now, that's something not just for our TDs and elected representatives, that's something for all of us now. Anyone listening to this programme this morning can email their TD, can phone them and say, I want you to make representations on our behalf. It's not good enough. This is what we want. I suppose it comes that every one of us has a voice. That's why we voted for people in the first place. One thing I will say, it's slightly an aside, that the last general election, I felt certainly in Donegal that there was a creeping apathy about what change was possible. I really, really felt that people were turning off politics. They were browbeaten by the lack of change, by the fact that things were changing so slowly in Donegal in terms of infrastructure. But when it comes to health, this is something I think that is so fundamental. That right now all of us have, a window, as you say. So now's the time. Write a letter. Email the TD, make the phone call.
I see people in the Dáil and the veins busting out their necks talking about things on the other side of the world, and I'm not being overly critical, but blooming hell, give us some of that passion here about Donegal, because, people are dying left, right and centre that don't need to die.
Can I just come back? Sorry, Kath, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Lennon, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Greg, and what you're saying is there, and I agree, leaders and legacy, I seen a year and a half ago, Greg, with the CDNT, where we were sitting at 40% staff, and we got all the TDs and HSE into a room. And in fairness to the TDs, because we said put politics, it's just about children and special needs not there, and they did, and we all worked together, and we got things to change. So it can happen, but we need them all to be working together. TDs, senators, a whole lot. In a room, as you say, with the minister, knocking on that minister's door.
They were all in a room recently with the hospital manager, with the head of the HSE, Sealta, sorry. But I think Pádraig McLaughlin may have spoken after that meeting. But my point, Leonard, just you and Kathy, and everyone can come back on this, but just to Kathy's point about apathy. But I want to speak to you, Leonard, about the Little Angel situation, for an example. That was parents of children desperate. And they had to take that issue by the horns and effectively try and sort it out themselves. They did with the CDNT as well. We were up in Carndona recently. It was a grassroots campaign that finally got day services for older people delivered there. If you look at who's advocating for the hospital mostly, it's cancer, people who have had multiple experiences with cancer, people who have lost families with cancer, people that others should be advocating on their behalf. They should be recovering or grieving or regrouping. Now, you couldn't stop them doing what they want to do, don't get me wrong. But is that why people are apathetic, Kathy? Because really, it seems if anything's going to change, it's those most greatly affected by it that seem to have to drive change and almost embarrass the state into action.
It always kind of amazes me, and I suppose, as a journalist, I'm always, amazed when people share their stories, sometimes in the most difficult of circumstances. But, you know, there is that, we know that stories have the power to change lives. And when people do say, this is my family story, they do get a response from government. It's a shame that that's what it takes, that people have to put their head above the parapet and share really, you know, intimate details sometimes of their family's life, of their situation, of their health situation before they can get that. But I suppose it does come back to as well, we know that that the power of stories to make change, and all of us, you know, telling our stories and actually, you know, putting that pressure on and not being sort of faceless, nameless numbers, but real people. And I think that does impact change. And I will always be heartened by the fact that, you know, when we do come together and we do actually raise our voices, we can have that power. We can make change, like Leonard has said, but we can't just sit back and rest in our hands. It is up to all of us. We have a voice. If we can pick up a phone or write an email today, you know, that might be one small thing, but these ripples, they do have an impact. You know, so we can't just all say it's not up to me. It's them and the doll. You know, whatever. We have to take sort of a small individual responsibility as well, and then that's better for the collective and the community, and hopefully we all benefit. And there might be some good news at the end of this.
Yeah, but I get you, and you're 100% right. But you would hope that should be in addition.
Yes.
To the doll representation, rather than almost some might feel filling a vacuum of representation there. Hugh, do you want to come back in there?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Greg, that I think when it comes to our democratic right to assembly, I think Donegal, I don't know what has people lost the kind of the ability to assemble and to protest. I don't know what has gone wrong in relation to that, but I do think
it's core issues that affect us directly, right? So and in the here and now. So in terms of water rates, that was very clear. Every household was going to be affected by it. People didn't want it. They went out in the massive numbers. But if you had Rosina Toner down there who did her protests over cancer services, right? You know, not everyone's affected by it. So so they're like, well, fair play to Rosina. She's doing great work there, but you know, I'm going to the car boot sale. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not.
No, I get you, and I think, Greg. Look, there's not a house in this county that hasn't been affected by illnesses of some type or some type of, you know, serious illnesses or light illnesses when you go to A&E. But my point is that I think that we've heads here in Donegal that could assemble massive assemblies, like Jim McGuinness, like you know, head of the GEA in Donegal, with other figures there that could, you know, certainly lead the way in relation to a massive protest in Donegal. And I think people will come out, you know, if they're called upon in relation to the issues that we're facing. And I think a lot of people doesn't really know the severity of it as well. They don't realise how bad or how in crisis we are in Letterkenny General Hospital. People hear about the overcrowding, they hear about the trolleys, they hear about the beds, but if it's not really related to you, and I think it's really disheartening to see, and being in A&E, and you look at the older members of the community, and I really feel for them, sitting in them hard chairs, Greg, for 12 to 16 to 18 hours at 70, 80 years of age, people with complex health issues. You know, certainly they're the people that needs to be looked after. People with cancer, you know, like, I think they're the real heartbeat of the community that need to be assured and looked after, and a bit of comfort when they access them kind of services. And I think that's where we're failing down as well. I think that people are left to limbo in terms of being there for 18 hours. We've been there with our parents and various different people. And I think that's really hurting, as I say, that really goes to heart in relation to you know, older people with serious complex issues. And I think we've a great community in Donegal. And I think if we can, you know, get to the heart of it and assemble people and do the right advocating, as Thingley says, and to lobby our politicians and let everybody's voice be heard.
Yeah, you see, I think a lot of people's experiences too, a lot of experiences at Letterkenny University Hospital are positive. So say Tuesday afternoon, you're playing football, you do your ankle in, you turn up, you through A&E in 3 hours, they wrap you up, they say it's not broken, you go, thank God it's not broken, you go home and you go, wow, brilliant, that's fantastic. Conversely though, you know, you might go there with signs of a stroke or you believe to have a stroke, and you're sat there for ages and ages and ages, and then your experience is more negative, or you're in there with your mum and dad, or you're in there with your partner who's just had or is having a suspected miscarriage, and you have to go in through the A&E doors and share the same toilets as other people. People have different experiences, but generally speaking, the staff are doing their absolute utmost there. A caller says, "Hi Greg, I currently work in Sligo University Hospital after transferring from Letterkenny, and the only way I've described the difference, it's like working at the bottom of the Titanic ship to the luxury at the top. It seems to be like Galway is gold standard, Sligo silver, and Letterkenny is bronze." That's someone's working there. Sligo are getting a new CT scanner. They're getting 2 new wards, 2 21-bed wards. There's a huge programme of investment that's been ongoing or is ongoing. Letterkenny University Hospital, we've got this notion at this point of a ambulatory care centre, and also a bit of work in health and safety through fire and all that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm going to have much more from our panel, and you at home or at work or wherever you're listening to us today, we are in the company of Leonard, Kathy and Hugh, and you, back after these.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Bring your dream kitchen to life with Cherrymore. Discover functional, beautiful designs with a wide range of colours and styles to suit any project. Learn more at cherrymore.ie, proud sponsors of today's show.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Donegal County Council invites you to enjoy the Baltana Festival, celebration of arts and creativity as we age, which takes place across Donegal from May 1st to 31st. Experience a month of inspiring art workshops, captivating theatre performances, music concerts, fascinating films and informative talks. All events are designed to celebrate creativity, encourage connections and enhance well-being. For full event details and bookings, visit donegalculture.ie or contact your local library. Donegal County Council, supporting our communities.
The Hillary's mid-season sale is now on. Get up to 40% off hundreds of beautiful made-to-measure styles. Plus, for a limited time only, enjoy an extra 10% off absolutely everything. That's an extra 10% off all blinds, curtains, shutters, even items already in the sale. And measuring and fitting is always included. We've been transforming homes across Ireland for over 40 years. Book your free in-home appointment today at hillarys.ie. Hurry, the extra 10% off ends 2nd of June. Conditions apply.
McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ormccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
Fly Donegal to Glasgow with Logan Air. Convenient return flights every Friday and Sunday, including a 15 kg checked bag. Book your Glasgow getaway now at loganair.co.uk. Terms and conditions apply.
New store, new project. Your new B&Q and TradePoint Letterkenny is now open. Dreaming of a garden glow-up? Fresh colour for your walls? Or a new kitchen? Whatever you need for your next home improvement project, we're here to help at your new B&Q Letterkenny. Find us at Unit 4 Letterkenny Retail Park, Neil T. Blaney Road. We're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday. You can do it when you B&Q it.
A caller says the neglect of Donegal is unfortunate because our TDs, councillors do not just care enough to shout in the Dáil, to shout on the TV radio stations, to shout on the streets, but more importantly, the people do not support anyone who does campaign. They do not care until it lands at their door. We have the power, but just do not make ourselves heard. In fairness, I will say the councillors have been and consistently worked very, very hard in this area. That's just my view, but I respect yours if you see otherwise. Leonard is saying, what a load of rubbish Leonard's saying. I was going to try and sugarcoat it, but I can't. I went to town twice just from Ramelton Road direction, and the first time I sat at the Tower Court, second time I sat at the A7, Arena 7, and it wasn't morning or evening time. He worries when there's no traffic in town. Ask himself why there's no traffic, because people avoid having to go if possible. He's obviously not sitting in traffic every day. I think there are particular pinch points, and I think the Ramelton Road is one of those, Leonard, that you can see, traffic disruptions at different times of the day. But your point still stands. You don't know every road coming into coming into the town. We should also have a cardiac unit in Letterkenny. If it wasn't for Derry, I wouldn't be alive. The traffic in Letterkenny is frightening if you find yourself needing urgent medical help. But we can't have everything. But we could have had a surgical hub. That's the thing, obviously we'd love absolutely everything. But we have to be realistic too. The surgical hubs, they look great. Right, we're in the company of Hugh Friel, Leonard Watson and Kathy Donaghy. New figures, I'll come to that actually because I have a bit more details on this piece of paper here. Disclosures of sexual violence to the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre last year reached the highest rate in the organisation's 46-year history, according to its latest annual report. And generally speaking, it is right across the country. For the first time, they had 20,000 contacts, in excess of 20,000 contacts to the charity's 24-hour helpline. More than half of new therapy clients, or 55%, had suffered other forms of violence in addition to sexual violence, including physical and psychological abuse, coercive control, spiking, trafficking, stalking, threats to kill. Some have attributed the increases to online toxic masculinity. There is certainly, hopefully, we are creating a society where victims feel more empowered to come forward. That definitely is going to be factored into it. But what can we do, Kathy Donaghy, to address this upward trend? I do struggle to wonder how we could be in 2025 and with the advances we'd hope we're making in terms of, men's respect for women and vice versa, that in areas like this we're seeing, dramatic increases, peaks, 46-year peaks. It's very concerning.
Yeah, it's actually, it's really disheartening, and those figures are shocking. The one, I don't know whether to call it a positive, but the one, I suppose, chink of light in all of this is, as you said, that when we see very high profile cases, we see a spike. So what we've seen this year, particularly sort of towards the end of last year and this year, we saw very, very high profile cases. We all remember Natasha O'Brien, the campaigner who was assaulted in the street. And then we think of Nikita Hand's case that she took, and what it took for those two women, to shed that sort of blanket of anonymity and say, this is my story, this is what happened to me. And sometimes in the most graphic, revealing details that I don't think anybody would ever want to go public with, but they decided, this is too important. So I suppose what we did see is those high profile cases leading to the spike. I think that in this country, sexual violence has been endemic for many years. The Savvy report was published about a decade ago, and it showed the numbers of people who had been impacted by sexual violence. So we know that it's there. It's almost like the cloak of secrecy is finally falling away, and we see what it's really like. Okay, then into this mix, what we have now is we have a sort of a changing culture where we have a toxic masculinity being baked into the culture, I would say. That's the best way to put it. And that's been done through lots of ways. And I think that what we're seeing, the online culture, the sort of the accessibility of hardcore pornography online at the touch of a button and a phone at your hands is definitely sort of, I suppose, coarsening people's attitudes and young men's attitudes to what is normal. And we see that there was a really shocking investigation by the Observer newspaper about the sort of, behaviour that students in third level college, what they were seeing, what was seen as normal sexual relations between young people, is anything but. So I think what we have to do is I think that this is something for every single person in society, for the teachers, for the parents. This has to start.
It's hard to counteract, though. Say, for instance, the likes of the Tates, right? And they're back in the press today. They're facing charges in Britain now. In the online space, you have people like them who are being charged in two countries, and yet still there's massive support for them. They're trying to cancel you. It's the Matrix. The women wanted to be treated like that. That's how women want to be treated. And that's seemingly, because so many people are involved in the conversation, an acceptable conversation. That you can throttle someone if they don't want to, because that's what they want. They might not want to want it, but that is what they want. And I just feel like a teacher standing in a classroom, it's an awful lot to combat when, what a man is is don't listen to that. You do
I
what
think
you
that,
want.
and I suppose teachers, and that's all of us, Greg, in society, right? As parents, right? And I've written a lot about this in the past. Consent is really at the heart of this, right? And this is talking to young people from the earliest age about what is acceptable and what are acceptable forms of negotiation. We all have to negotiate, and sort of as we're kids, we find out by sometimes fighting our corner and finding our way, but sort of calling out the microaggressions as parents. As if we're in the pub and we hear something that's inappropriate, we got to stand up. We got to say stuff now. Where
that comment in a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, well, in the WhatsApp group, if it's wherever it is, it's so disheartening when you see what's happening with the Tates, or that Conor McGregor was invited to the White House. I mean, it makes your heart sick, right? But I think that there is a space. I know that in the UK they are actually bringing in outside experts to help young men chart some of these spaces. But the other side of this, we have we have social media companies who have been given such a carte blanche into our children's lives. And it is actually it's almost like closing the stable door now the horse is bolted. They have been given free rein to our children's brains.
I mean, I was listening to an interview with a girl who's in the porn industry, and she spoke in a really matter-of-fact way about accessing hardcore pornography at the age of 11. Like as if it were everybody, well, maybe they are, I don't know, but didn't make a connection between that and then the lifestyle she chose, which was anyway. Hugh Friel, the numbers are going up. What can we do?
I think, Craig, if we look at the history of the state, and we'll have to go back to that we've kind of embedded kind of sexual violence acceptance in some kind of way because of what happened in the history of the state, and we haven't. The prosecution and the accountability hasn't been good enough in this country in relation to the Mandan laundries, the Catholic Church, the different various bodies that were supposed to protect children and didn't. And I think some of that stuff is inherited in relation to acceptability. And I think we need to educate young men more on the curriculum in school, sexual education more. But I do think that, like as Thingy's mentioned, Conor McGregor, we go back that there was people in this county shouting at protests that he had video evidence of her that has made him accountable, that she didn't do it, and I think that or he didn't do it. Sorry, and I think that kind of prompts young men and the acceptability. It's okay. Sure, he got away with it, and we've had figures. If we've had figures like him leading out in relation to that and condemning her coming forward and taking her case, and rightfully so, what he did was wrong. And if she voiced her concerns and she's been profiled in the way that she shouldn't have done that. But in that, I mean, look at that. Look at that figure.
Yeah, but it seems to be. Yeah, but it seems to be. Even look at it's going back a bit now. But the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, it seems to be okay now that the social discourse is that even if the evidence is pointing in one direction, that person is a liar or not a liar. Ignore the fact that there was some physical violence, but it wasn't as bad as some people make. The point is it seems to be like we can now have a debate whether or not that woman that was Conor McGregor was found civilly liable for raping, whether or not she's telling the truth or not. That's okay. That I'm not saying it's okay, but that's how we converse now. As I say, it feels like it's getting worse than better.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you there, but I think the public trials I got there, Greg, you know what I mean? And it's that acceptance that we have the right then to judge somebody who's came forward in relation to sexual violence or rape. And I think, this country, as I said, is steeped in history of that. Do you know what I mean? Being judgmental around the woman, judgmental around the victim who comes forward to disclose what happened. And I think we sometimes haven't, as a state, accepted that. And I think we need to, going forward, we need to accept that sexual violence is wrong. Any form of violence towards a woman is wrong. I think we all know the increase of drugs has a massive role to play. I'm not saying that it's a percentage of it that happens in nightclubs, spiking. These date
rape drugs.
Drug,
I get you.
It's happening, and I think social media, as you aligned to, social media has an awful role to play.
Okay, I want to bring Leonard in here just because we're running against the clock. Hugh, thanks so much for your views on that, Leonard Watson.
Hey, Greg, the one thing I will say, and probably justice has to be seen to be served too. You look at the Tates, you look at Conor McGregor. I was just chatting with my daughter last night. She's 13. She heard about Andrew Tate when she was 11 from young boys at school, and them idolising them. But when these guys
that's very worrying. That's very worrying.
Greg, she quoted a line to me. It was actually said to her, and we said, the young boy said that you're one day equal rights, equal fights. He was going to hit her, and this is social media. We're all putting weapons in our children's hands, these phones, and they're seeing all this, and they think it's normal, and they think they're cool because they've got flash cars and all this here, But also, us as parents too, we have a big job to do here. But I still go back, the courts have to be tougher on these. That case where the soldier that punched that girl and put up on social media how he punched her, and straight away it was all about his career, Well, that's wrong, That guy deserved to go to jail for a long time.
Suspended sentences for having child abuse image.
Never mind that he was sorry. He put something like that up on social media. There should be an extra sentence alone for that,
All right.
So we have a responsibility. These people have to see justice,
Okay, Leonard Watson, thanks so much for your time. Owner of Watson's Menswear Letterkenny, a campaigner as well too, it has to be said. Thanks very much for your time. Kathy Donaghy, always a pleasure. I really enjoy your input as always. Thank you, Kathy. Have a great weekend. And Hugh Friel, good morning to you, Hugh. Thanks so much for joining us. I do appreciate it. All right, bye-bye. Take care. We'll be back with the weather after these.
With 29 years of experience, Cherrymore is trusted across Ireland for exceptional quality and service. Let their expert team guide you from concept to completion. Cherrymore.ie, proud sponsors of today's show.
Celebrate summer this bank holiday weekend at Centra with their amazing summer sizzler offers. Like Tato Hunky Dory sharing bags $1.50 each, Chicago Town takeaway stuffed crust pizza and Cadbury Crunchy ice cream tub $3.50 each. Plus Fountain Sprite 12-can pack €6 each plus deposit. Centra. Live every day.
At Restex Beds, we are celebrating 50 incredible years in business. And we are introducing our brand new Glenveigh mattress, comfort that's as legendary as our half-century legacy. Experience 50 years of bedding excellence at Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Restex Beds. Leave the rest to us.
Charge into summer with TUI. Secure your holiday today with savings for families and adults flying from Dublin, Cork and Shannon. Holiday sorted. TUI. Live happy.
Top cap payments revealed. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we reveal who's getting the highest farm payment in your county. Court showdown in the battle for Barn Estate. Mart manager sound alarm on TB proposals. Crime gang targeting farm jeeps. Everything you need to know about registering a right of way. Top tax tips for your farm. Plus free 36-page summer food magazine. And don't miss your chance to win a Yamaha quad. Collect 3 tokens to enter. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
30 years of magic, 30 years of passion, 30 years of unforgettable performances. Riverdance 30, the new generation, is coming to the Gaiety Theatre in Dublin for a limited anniversary tour. Join us on Thursday the 28th of August to experience the rhythm and pure magic of Riverdance, live in the city where it all began. Luxury coach transfers, overnight accommodation on a bed and breakfast basis at the 4-star Grand Canal Hotel in the heart of Dublin. Fantastic seats to the show and free time to explore all that Dublin has to offer. Spaces are limited. Don't miss out on your chance to witness this iconic and unforgettable show. Contact us today on 9125,000 or check out The Outlet on highlandradio.com to book your place now.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Get set for summer with all new arrivals dropping every week, from fashion to footwear and homeware to cosmetics. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
All right, breezy, humid and mostly cloudy with outbreaks of rain and drizzle. Moderate to fresh, gusty southwest winds. Now, mostly cloudy with patchy rain and drizzle. Moderate southwesterly winds, easing mild with lowest temperatures of 10 to 13 degrees. It's changeable over the weekend, seems to be the message. Okay. Thanks again to Hugh Friel, to Leonard Watson, to Kathy Donaghy, I beg your pardon, for their contributions in the first hour. You've been texting and calling in as well. Reality is that we've been so badly served by our local politicians, especially those from government parties, health, infrastructure, defective blocks. They just make excuses. At this point, they should be threatening to leave their respective parties. Not good enough, says Martin. A revolution, that's what's needed for Letterkenny Hospital. Look at what Paddy Diver did to defective concrete block homes on the map, he put it. It's not good enough. We need to get out there in our thousands. Donegal is indeed neglected for everything. Enough is enough. That comes in from a Buncrana listener. And, you know, in the first instance, you know, the thousands upon thousands, if that's what you wanted to do, don't have to go to Dublin. It would make for a very impressive site in Letterkenny, or Buncrana for that matter. It doesn't have to be Letterkenny. Maybe the people of Inishowen might be more inclined to come out. All right, keep your calls, comments coming in. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts, or call 074 91 25,000. Happy Friday. It's the 9 till noon show. We're going to be back with more after the news and obituary notices.
Need some inspiration for your home renovation? Explore Cherrymore's kitchen and bedroom collections and create a space as unique as you. Book your design appointment today at cherrymore.ie. Proud sponsors of today's show.
Step out of the ordinary and into the new Lexus LBX, because this is the luxury compact SUV reimagined in every detail, where style, elegance and innovation define a new kind of driving experience. It's your world. Make it extraordinary. Experience the new LBX Hybrid at your Lexus retailer, available with a range of flexible payment options. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Your local dealer is Lexus Letterkenny.
It's the 2025 World Chip Sizzle Freestyle Contest, and Charlie's Chips are in the lead again. They're coming up to the finishing pan, and Charlie's Chips are the 2025 World Champions. Sourced locally, hand-cut and freshly cooked, served with mouth-watering burgers, fresh battered fish or delicious chicken, plus a great selection of gluten-free options. Open Tuesday to Saturday 12 to 8 and every Friday for breakfast from 9. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's on Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
Easy Living Furniture's sizzling summer sale ends this Sunday. Don't miss out as absolutely everything's reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress and accessories. Summer sale ends Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, or online at easylivingfurniture.co.uk.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, Easy Living has it all. Easy Living Furniture. Luxury furnishings, affordable luxury.
Books a bit messy? Payroll giving you headaches? Big Red Cloud, in partnership with Donegal Education and Training Board, is offering free online training courses in bookkeeping and payroll. Perfect for small business owners, startups or even accountants looking to support their clients. The courses are flexible, certified and designed for real-world needs. Visit bigredcloud.com/training to sign up. Free, certified and at your own pace. Brought to you by Donegal ETB.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. A Letterkenny businessman says the day there is no traffic in the town will be worse than the current situation. Leonard Watson was reacting to the passing this week of 2 active travel plans, which will see additional cycle lanes installed on the Ballyreen and Circular Road, as well as a signalisation of 2 roundabouts. Despite calls for a decision on the plans to be deferred, they were passed following a vote. Mr Watson told today's 9 till noon show that he believes other work should have been implemented prior to the rollout of more cycle lanes.
We're a hub, and the bridge is an issue. Like, you know, the Port Bridge, we've got one bridge that kind of services the whole other end of the county. So, but there's still factors that could put in, like, you know, the park and ride thing, all that kind of stuff could be put in place very quick. When you within a short certain time, that would actually alleviate a lot of. We're never going to sort of traffic problems, even when we get the bridge. It's not sort of traffic problems. But I still say we need traffic in the town too. Like.
Carillon Global Solutions Ireland has confirmed 24 jobs will be lost in Donegal as it ceases its operations in Ireland. The company, which provides digital integrated solutions for the healthcare industry, has been based in Ireland for the past 4 years. In a statement, Carillon says after careful consideration and a consultation process, a decision has been reached to cease operations. The wind-down process is expected to take place over the coming months and be completed by the end of this year. Yesterday, the Minister for Social Protection, Dara Calleary, confirmed that he had contacted Carillon to ensure employees were aware of the supports available to them. The Minister for Older People and Housing has confirmed that recruitment is currently underway for a consultant for the Memory Assessment Support Service in Donegal. Minister Kieran O'Donnell has announced the commencement of the implementation of a national dementia registry for Ireland. It will assist in improving dementia care quality, address service gaps and plan services for the increasing number of people with dementia. Minister O'Donnell says the registry will be key to enhancing the services available for those who need care.
It's really a key item in terms of the dementia services. So it's now, the process is now underway, and it means in over the next 3 years we will have a defined database in place, which really I believe will play a key role in terms of enhancing the service that is available for people with dementia and their families.
A former TD says Ireland's stance on Israel could be negatively impacting Irish UNIFIL troops in Lebanon. It's after members of the 126th Infantry Battalion were shot at by Israeli soldiers while patrolling yesterday afternoon. The Irish Defence Forces have confirmed that all personnel are safe and well. Taoiseach Simon Harris will meet the new Chief of the Defence Forces today to discuss what happened. Former independent TD and Army Ranger Cathal Berry says we need to be cautious.
For Israeli soldiers, the individual soldier on the ground is very sensitive to what's written in Israeli newspapers, and it is reported, what various parliamentarians in Ireland would be saying, for sure. A lot of the language, some of it is obviously well-intentioned, but it can be misconstrued as quite inflammatory. And if you look at the recent proceedings inside in the Dáil there, there's a lot of vitriol being fired from various sources across the Dáil chamber, which is unhelpful.
Donegal County Council is being urged to make its black and minority ethnic inclusion strategy widely available across the county. Councillor Terry Crossan made the call following the recent launch of the North West Anti-Racism Charter, which was developed as part of this year's Bloody Sunday commemorations. Donegal's BME inclusion strategy aims to send a clear message that there is no place for hate in the county and only respect and a shared sense of community is welcomed. Councillor Crossan believes it's essential access to the document is easily accessible.
I would like to see it more widely circulated and promoted. To begin with, in all county council offices, all county council premises, and then made more widely available to other schools, businesses, and any community groups that would want to promote it.
Weather now breezy, humid and mostly cloudy with outbreaks of rain and drizzle. Mild today with lowest temperatures of 10 to 13 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, you can keep up to date with the latest local news on our website highlandradio.com. Good morning.
The obituary notices this Friday morning, May 30th. The death has occurred of Marie Byrne Dorian, Main Street, Kellybegs, reposing at her daughter Katrina's home at Church Road, Kellybegs today from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. in St Mary of the Visitation Church, Kellybegs, with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Mass will be streamed live on mcn.live. House is private outside of reposing times and on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Kellybegs Community Hospital. The death has taken place of James Russell, Drina, Ballyhaig, County Kerry and formerly of Church Hill, Letterkenny. James will repose at his daughter Marie and son-in-law Shane's home, Drina, Ballyhaig, today from 3 p.m. until 10 p.m. House private, please, at all other times. The funeral cortege will pass through Ballyhaig village on Saturday at approximately 11 a.m, followed by cremation in Shannon Crematorium at 2 p.m. Family flowers only, donations in lieu if desired, to the Palliative Care Unit, Kerry University Hospital. The death has taken place of Archie Leggett, 185 Lone Moor Road, Derry, reposing at his home until 11 o'clock tonight. Funeral from his home tomorrow morning at 9:20, going to St Columba's Church, Long Tower for Requiem Mass at 10 a.m, interment afterwards in the city cemetery. The death has taken place of Lizzie Williams, Neil Larkin, Fortwell Place, Lower Main Street, Letterkenny, and formerly from 108 Lower Main Street, Letterkenny. Lizzie's remains will repose at the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny, this afternoon from 4 o'clock, with removal at 5:45 to St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, to repose overnight. Requiem Mass there tomorrow morning at 11 a.m, which can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in Conwall Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers if desired to the Donegal Hospice care of any family member. The death has taken place of Molly McMenamin, 35 Castle Avenue, Buncrana. Molly is reposing at her late residence. House private from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. each night. Funeral leaving her late residence on Sunday at 12 noon. Going to St Mary's Oratory, Buncrana for funeral mass at 12:30, followed by burial in St Mary's Cemetery, Cockhill. Funeral can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Nazareth House Fawn, Residents Comfort Fund, care of any family member or Porter Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Matt Zabanda, St Mary's Road, Buncrana. Matt's remains will be reposing in St Mary's Oratory, Buncrana this evening from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Requiem Mass will take place tomorrow morning at 9:30, followed by interment in St Mary's Cemetery, Cockhill. The death has taken place in London, England, of Neil Connor, formerly of Carrick-Carrigart. Requiem Mass this morning at 11 a.m. at the Church of St John the Baptist, Carrick-Art, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers to the Kevin Bell Repatriation Fund, care of any family member. Mass can be viewed live on Meva Parish Facebook page. The death has taken place of Thomas Macaulay, Glencush, Lifford. Remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral from his home this afternoon at 1:15 for 2 p.m. service of Thanksgiving in Clonley Church of Ireland, Lifford, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family time before the funeral today. Family flowers only. Donations if desired to Clonley Church of Ireland, Lifford, care of Gillian Graham or any family member. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
It's June. Should I take the barbecue out of storage?
Do, yeah.
And the picnic blanket?
Go on.
And put the winter wardrobe away?
Ah, don't be daft, will you? We live in Ireland. This bank holiday at Londis. Get in a shell of quarter-pounder beef burgers, pork sausages and chicken range, any three for €10. Buy Club, Pepsi and 7-Up 8-pack can range, only $4.99 each plus deposit. And get Faustino 7 wine range, just $8.99 each. At Londis. We know what locals want, because we're local, like you. Enjoy alcohol responsibly. Offers end 2nd of June in participating stores while stocks last.
You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. And coming up after 11 o'clock, it's the last That's Entertainment in its current guise. Fionnuala and Michael Leddy, of course, Fionnuala Rabbit and Michael Leddy have been mainstays of our 11 to 12 for the last few Fridays. We're going to have less accessibility to Fionnuala going forward, obviously, as... she's moving on as CEO of Highland Radio, and we're going to give Michael a break for the summer months, and we are coming back with something with a little bit of a different format. So, but if you love that, don't worry, it's not gone forever. A caller says the only way that we'll solve the traffic problems in Letterkenny is if we get underground tunnels. Look at Australia, we need to follow them. We can't get a bridge. We're how many years, 20, 30, 40 years into trying to get a relief bridge for Letterkenny? We can't scrap that and go for tunnels. Can you ask Pat the Cope Gallagher why he voted to support the sale of Israel's war's bonds in the Irish Central Bank? Most people in Donegal are against the genocide in Gaza and do not want Ireland to be complicit in the killing. How many men have found themselves in court due to false or malicious accusations by women? I can count half a dozen in Donegal. Also, alone in recent years, their actions only throw doubt on genuine cases of sexual abuse. And so it begins, you see. So rather than talking about the overwhelming majority of cases where women have been beaten in their home, coercively controlled, we're sort of focusing on malicious accusations by a smaller proportion of women. And I take your point that can harm court cases, but the truth is the majority of women don't progress to court. They don't want to go through it all again. They live with it. They contact the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre or the Letterkenny Rape Crisis Centre and they access their services and never go to court. So really there's no consequence for their accuser. They're not turning up to try and get them in jail. You know what I mean? They're going to seek support. Not everybody that goes to a rape crisis centre, in fact, the majority don't report it to the Gardaí. So I take your point, but it is talking about a small percentage of, unfortunately, the smaller percentage of cases. These are women that are ringing up domestic violence services because they need their support, as I say, never to go to the Gardaí. So the victim can move on, the perpet can move on to the next victim, and we see that time and time again. So I think diverting attention to the small number of women from a smaller cohort of people that actually do report is not really helping progress the conversation about why there is genuinely such a high level of domestic abuse. The guards are called out to domestic abuse cases every single weekend, often during the week as well. You know, they're not all malicious. They turn up and the woman's got a black eye or fingerprints around her throat. I'm not being crass, and I hope I'm not being heartless, but that's the truth. Ask the Gardaí, ask these centres that deal with these women, ask Lifeline in Inishowen, ask the Donegal Domestic Violence Network. You know, these are people that aren't going on necessarily to report things to the Gardaí, but they're talking about the dire situations they've found themselves in at home, and often only come forward after prolonged abuse. So, as I say, I'm not saying there aren't malicious accusations, but that doesn't affect the fact that we have a very high rate of mostly in excess of 90% male on female physical and sexual abuse. Greg, serious question. Would any issue that we have in Letterkenny have to do with the fact that it's now a university hospital? It's now more a school than a hospital, because I can remember years ago everything could be done there. Now it's just like a reception area. You log in and they send you elsewhere to do the procedure. Is that what university applies to? It's not something I've heard before. To mobilise people, we need a county-wide campaign, not just a local campaign. When an election comes around, we've got county-wide leaflet campaigns and all those bullet points about what we, the politicians, are going to do. If politicians are serious about making changes, they would get behind a county-wide campaign with their expenditure and connections. The biggest issue with a hospital campaign is that people only campaign when they are in the middle of the issue, and when it doesn't affect them, it's forgotten about, or it's just not their problem. Yes, and I agree with you. And it's no malice, because we're all very busy. We're all trying to, people are working 40, 50 hours a week. We're all trying to, do our best for our children while holding down jobs, often low-paid jobs. There's no malice in why people aren't engaged in it. It's just life is so blooming busy. But you're perfectly right. As soon as it directly affects you, you find it. We've had numerous contacts from people that said, I heard on the radio you're talking about such and such, and I didn't realise it was such and such until I was in that position. We do see that all the time, and it's not to guilt people. Hi, Greg. Kathy is correct. The only solution is to fast-track the Bonagee link. Nonsense talk about park and ride will not help ease the congestion flow of traffic, as half of it is passing by the town to other places. Another, why don't the council do a survey on all factories on their start and finish times and try and see if they could get them to start and finish at different times? Wouldn't have all the traffic moving at the same time. But I mean, if you think in the morning, you've got people going to all different places, workplaces, you've got hospital, factories, shops, then you've got the school traffic. I think in a town of a certain size, you might be able to sort of stagger school opening and closing times, and maybe even amongst a couple of businesses. But Letterkenny is so big and so successful that I wonder, could that be done? Is there enough time slots in the morning to affect a meaningful change? A caller says the neglect of Donegal is unfortunate because our TDs and I've read that one already, sorry. And that one too. Hi Greg, the Circular Road new development is not making sense with why don't they trial run it close to the proposed entrances and no right turns for a few weeks and see how it works? Not a bad idea. It wouldn't be hard. That's up up past the hospital. All right, it's 10:15. Let's take a break for the bingo numbers. Our next guest joining us very shortly.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 30th of May. You're playing on the yellow sheet for the daily prize of €400. The reference number is S10. It's game number 22. The numbers are 89, 70, 24, 16, 65, 27, 29, 35, 71, and finally 81. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Since I switched to Hidden Hearing, I can hear it all.
You could save up to €3,000 off invisible hearing aids. Save when you switch to us, upgrade, or save on your very first hearing aids. Pre-phone 1800 370 000. Switch and save at hiddenhearing.ie. You should go to the hearing experts. T's and C's apply.
If that tickle in your throat has turned into a nasty cough, or if you're just feeling a bit under the weather, at McGee's Chemist we understand. From the right cough bottle to pain relief or throat lozenges, we've everything you'll need to get you back on your feet. Our pharmacists and experienced staff are always ready to offer advice and help you find the right solutions. Don't suffer in silence. Visit McGee's Chemist today. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, for healthcare help and advice you can always trust.
Great news for Expressway Route 32 passengers. From May 25th, Expressway is increasing services to 12 daily departures between Letterkenny and Dublin, including stops at Monaghan and Dublin Airport. Catch the new midnight departure from Letterkenny, perfect for early morning flights. And a late evening service from Dublin to get you home after catching up with friends. Enjoy free Wi-Fi, power sockets and comfortable seating. Visit expressway.ie to view the new timetable and book your journey today. Expressway, way better.
Whether it's muddy boots or outdoor gear, Cherrymore's premium kitchen and storage solutions bring style and function to your boot-room or utility. Learn more at cherrymore.ie, proud sponsors of today's show.
And fair play to Cherrymore and the other great sponsors that sponsor the 9 till noon show and help us do the work that we do as well. They all have a role in trying to affect positive change, though not part of any campaign. I'm just saying that they help support what we do here as well. Now, we talk about a lot of serious stuff on this show, right? But it's not all serious. There's lots of different stuff that we talk about. We talk about the amazing achievements of our youth. We speak to people who've had very interesting life experiences and they want to share them. We speak to people who have maybe gone through an ordeal and want to speak about that to help others. And we also highlight the positives in humanity as well. And I love when we're able to do this. And Catherine joins me on the programme to that end. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Greg. How's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you keeping?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Thanks for letting us on.
No, I love it. It's fantastic. And we've kind of all been in this boat, but you're speaking really on behalf of your mum, who was out and about in Letterkenny yesterday. So take it away, Catherine.
She was. Yeah, so my mum, Sheila, she was out and about in Letterkenny yesterday and decided to treat herself in the cafe in the New Duns. And she's like, oh, the food in there is lovely. So she was queuing up, got a lovely chicken Kiev and all the trimmings and whatnot, went up to the till to pay and went into the wallet and realised that she had forgotten her bank card, and she was absolutely mortified. And she says that there was a young fella, he could have been a student, even that young, maybe a student at the ATU or something like that, and he was the next guy in the till beside her, and he was offering to pay for her, and she was like, no, it's fine, and she was asking the lady behind the till to be like, it's okay, just send it back, and he was like, no, I'll pay for it, and Mum was like, no, and she's a wee bit hard of hearing, so she didn't quite hear him. And then another man who was ahead of her in the till, and he was just over getting his utensils and whatnot, he came back and he's like, no, I'll pay for it. And he was a slightly older man, kind of grey hair and stuff, I guess here. And Mum was again mortified. She was like, no, nobody paid for it, it's fine. She was just so embarrassed that she'd forgot her bank card and stuff, I guess here. And she kind of had the head down going, oh my goodness, can't believe this has happened. And then the second man, the kind of older man, unbeknownst to Mum wasn't looking at the time, but the lady behind the till was like, he's paid for it, don't worry about it. And she was like, what? And Mum was a wee bit hard of hearing as well, so the woman had to repeat. And then, because the two men were kind of fighting over who was going to pay for it. So the lady behind the till was like, it's not often or it's not every day that you might have two men fighting over you to buy you lunch.
Take that, all right. Okay.
And Mum, again, just with the wee bit of hard of hearing, she asked the man who paid, what his name was and where he was from, and she only picked up part of it. So she knows he was from Churchill or he'd been living in Churchill for over 20 years, and she thinks his surname was O'Connor, but she's not too sure. My sister went on a deep dive trying to find like who this man could be, and then I just thought maybe we could just type into or message into you guys in Highland, and just to put out, one, I guess, a thank you, two, to maybe find who they are, or if somebody knows who these men might be, that we could then thank them and at least repay the man who like paid or whatever. Like even the mum was saying that the younger guy as well, after the other fella had paid, he was like, here, do you want something to drink? I'll buy you something to drink, like a Coca-Cola or a coffee or something. And just yesterday evening when I come up to visit my mum, then she was telling me about it, and she was just so chuffed about it, and just really kind of restored her faith in humanity. Like you said, we always hear these, you know, negative and disappointing stories constantly, but then when you're out and about, like, you know, and especially about the youth, Mum, she's sitting here beside me, she's like, especially about the youth, you hear really bad stories about them sometimes, and then you see these young fellas that are just really nice to, like, my mum's a grandmother, she's almost 80, and, you know, and these people were really kind to her, so I just thought, you know what, why not sort of spread a good news story as well.
You know, and the thing is, and what you might not track the people down, but I hope you might.
No.
But I think what it will be nice is that maybe they don't realise the positive impact their act of kindness had on a lady. Do you know what I mean? Because it wasn't just to alleviate the embarrassment. We've all found ourselves in that situation. It's actually just that how it made her feel in the day and about herself, to come home and relate that story. You know, it really is impactful, isn't it? Something, it's not simple actually, it's really quite generous, but I hope they realise the positive impact they had on your mum's life. Sheila, isn't it?
Oh, like definitely Sheila, yeah. So Mum, she was just, you were just so happy about it, and just that, like, you know, that these people would help someone, like they didn't know who she was, she didn't know them, they were complete strangers to Mum, and, you know, like I said, she was just totally chuffed about how it all went about, like, you know, so just as a, I don't know, it really made a positive impact on her day yesterday.
Had she had her hair done recently? Was she wearing a particularly nice outfit, or... I don't know. Do we know why these two men couldn't resist fighting over her?
I don't know. She's got a great head of hair. It always looks great as well.
Of course she does. Of course she does. Lovely lady, and it's just someone being very, very kind. Two people, in fact. And if you are either of those two people, lads, take a bow. You made a woman very, very happy, an embarrassed woman. But hopefully she enjoyed the chicken Kiev. The food down there is lovely, as you say.
It's really nice.
Catherine.
Yeah.
All right, pass it on to Sheila and the family, will you?
I will.
Thank you so very much,
Catherine.
Great.
Thanks a million.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Paul Gillespie is chair of the PRO and PRO of the Donegal branch of Diabetes Ireland. We chat to Paul regularly. Most recently, I was chatting to him down during a minister's visit. Paul, can you hear me okay? No? Okay, Paul's on a phone call to somebody else. Right, what I'll do is I'll take a break and we'll come back and chat to Paul in a moment.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Need some help in the bedroom? Cherrymore create hinged, sliding and walk-in wardrobes, perfect for maximising space and adding elegance. Visit their showroom or find out more at cherrymore.ie, proud sponsors of today's show.
Get more for less this bank holiday with Lidl Plus. Grill up fish, Board B approved meats or poultry, 3 for €9. And cool down with Guinness 15 packs, 15% off, now an incredible $24.85 plus deposit. Scan your Lidl Plus app and enjoy more for less when you go full Lidl this summer. Get the facts, be drinkaware, visit drinkaware.ie.
Brian McCormick Sports. New Hoka trainers in-store and online. Try the new Clifton 10, even softer as you take every stride. New range of colours for men and women. Different widths to suit your feet. Bondi 9. New colours for men and women. Take the Hoka Challenge and see what fits you best. If you're road running or walking, maximise your comfort and support at Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
If you're fitting a new kitchen or replacing some tired appliances, now's the time with the Ben Sweeney Euronics Kitchen Bundle. Get a single oven and hob, integrated dishwasher and fridge freezer, wash machine and tumble dryer, all for just €2,000. Other kitchen bundles are available on request. Call us today or visit Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, and the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Put your best foot forward for National Heritage Week. Organise an event that helps your community explore our foundations. From ancient stone to local song or something unique we can all enjoy. Register your event at heritageweek.ie today. National Heritage Week is a programme of the Heritage Council supported by the Local Authority Heritage Networks and the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage.
Spoil your pet at Homeland Letterkenny's big pet event this bank holiday weekend. Enjoy 10% off all cat and dog food, 20% off cat towers, scratch posts, harnesses, collars and leads, plus 15% off wild bird tables, feeders and accessories. Offers valid in-store and online until June 2nd. Visit homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available.
Luxury is not merely seen or heard or even touched. True luxury is experienced. It lies in the minute details that elevate the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's quiet spoken, but leaves a lasting impression. You know it when you feel it. Luxury begins with L. Lexus. Experience amazing. Discover the all-electrified range at Lexus Letterkenny.
Right, Paul Gillespie, Chair and PRO of the Donegal branch of Diabetes Ireland. Hiya, Paul.
Good morning, Greg.
Thanks
Morning
for joining us. The most recent conversation we had was just down the road from where I am now. You were just out of a meeting with the Health Minister, continuing the campaign for further resources in terms of adult diabetes services in Letterkenny University Hospital. And some good news to deliver today. I know it's been out there, but some people might be hearing it for the first time. So what was announced?
Yeah, well, they have now announced that the funding is definitely in place for the first A&P in adult type 1 diabetes care in Letterkenny Hospital. It's something that they've been applying for since 2019 each year, and it was put in the 2025 estimates, but only now finally got approved. And I think, as I mentioned before, Letterkenny Hospital should actually have 3 adult A&Ps because of the catchment and the population of almost 800 in Donegal with type 1 diabetes. So this is the first step. So, and as you're aware from our previous conversations, it's a step that's so far behind everywhere else nationally. Like, ideally, we should be announcing a second or if not a third. So, but we're delighted to finally get our first A&P for adult care in Letterkenny Hospital.
Did we have a visiting advanced nurse practitioner up until now, or how were people accessing or assessing their treatment plans, etc.?
No, Letterkenny Hospital has only ever had 1 endocrinologist and 2 CNSs, so which is way below what is required. And in 2019, I think, was as well, like Letterkenny Hospital was approved for a second adult endocrinologist. They have never been able to fill the second endocrinologist post up until there's a new guy starting now soon. But as well as that, the endocrinologist that we did have for so many years, he resigned from his post. So for the last 3 years, there's been no endocrinologist in Letterkenny and only 2 CNSs, which meant they're being getting support from the hub. There's a 0.5 of an endocrinologist comes in from the hub. And between them and Galway, they have been struggling to provide proper care for adults type 1 over the last few years. So this is very welcome that the A&P is now going to come in place, but also the fact that we're being informed that we're finally going to get an endocrinologist back in now in June. And the second endocrinologist post went to advertisement, and I believe it's been interviewed for soon.
So we are making progress. It's a significant step forward. In terms of your meeting with the minister, just to try and get a sense of what that kind of stuff means, do you believe that helped in moving this forward, or is it just a coincidence?
Well, I personally think it is a bit of a coincidence because there was so much pressure coming on from, as you know, the new health forum set up, and we now have a manager now solely for Donegal to looking after both hospital and community care. And I know Dermot Munhan was driving hard for this position. But yes, I believe our talk with the minister, but our main focus with the minister was actually to get the second ANP. So we are still pushing and urging the minister that the second ANP ideally needs to be in place in time for the second endocrinologist to arrive, because like Letterkenny is the probably possibly the only hospital in Ireland that has never been able to offer pump start therapy to adults with type 1. And pump start therapy is seen as gold standard. It's what's the HSE and the government, all their government documents
And this is to
recommend that
provide
pump start is available.
insulin. This is to provide insulin to type 1 diabetes. It's the most effective way to do so, the gold star way of doing it. That's correct, yeah?
It is, yes, it is indeed.
Do you believe that this will, do you think that this will sort of lead to the beginning of such a service being provided in Letterkenny or in Donegal?
Oh, I honestly do. So yes. It was discussed at our meeting with the minister and at our most recent meetings in Letterkenny Hospital. Yes, that is if they can get the 2 endocrinologists and Letterkenny is for 2.5 endocrinologists. We already have the half coming in from the hub. So if we can get the 2.5 endocrinologists plus the 2 ANPs, then Letterkenny will finally, after all these years, be in a position to start offering proper resources that's widely available below the Dublin-Galway line.
Yeah, you mentioned the hub. What is the hub?
Oh, sorry, that's the building, across the road that looks after the 5 critical illnesses. And it's the one that has been developed. And like type 2 diabetes across the county has improved dramatically since the new hub was, sorry, I forget the CDM, I forget the correct terminology.
No, that's okay. No, it's just so I understood. The word hub's been knocking about a lot lately, so I just wanted to make sure I knew which one it was. So, we've talked in the past on many occasion, the importance of regular appointments. So hopefully, they're not going to be as regular as they might be elsewhere because we don't have the same level of staffing. But you're more optimistic that people will be able to go in on a more regular basis, have their progress, their treatment assessed, because we know the longer the gap between being seen with type 1 diabetes, you might lose, your eyesight might become, you might deteriorate or what have you. It's very important that people are seen as regularly as is possible. Is that right, Paul?
Oh, absolutely. Poor control, unfortunately, leads to poor outcomes. So you can have like adults, you can have amputations of the lower limbs. You can have problems with eyesight. There's a huge amount of complications. So getting advanced care, the correct care in advance, is critical for long-term, lifelong longevity. But can I say it would also mean that this is what we have been pursuing the minister to ensure that it finally, actually one of the questions the minister asked to Sean Murphy that they were applying for an ANP every year since 2019 and they kept getting knocked back, and she says why. So we believe that the minister had a very good understanding of type 1 diabetes and its implications. So we are hopeful that now whenever we get a reply from her, or we've volunteered to come for a second meeting with her to get the proper resources. And one critical thing that we're concerned about is the 2 new ANPs and the endocrinologist must be in addition to the existing CNS, because the existing CNSs still have to look after all the type 2 inpatients as well as type 1 inpatients. So the ANPs are critical to get onto the new endocrinologist teams.
A caller wants to know, could you ask that gentleman, is the podiatrist coming back for diabetes or diabetics? I've been waiting for over 5 years now for an appointment.
Oh my God. Yeah. Again, Letterkenny has had serious problems with podiatrists. They now have 1 podiatrist in place. She's probably in place now coming up on 7-8 months. So I would urge that patient to make contact with the hospital. And we understand that as the second podiatrist, the senior post is also imminent to be filled as well. So that seems to be looking like it's going to improve as well. So I would urge that patient to make contact with the hospital.
Just to make sure that they're aware of them, just to make sure that they're on the list,
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because unfortunately, we have heard of people falling off the list for we're not sure why.
So the campaigning continues, but certainly this is a very positive step in the right direction, Paul, after many years.
Pediatric diabetes has never been fully resourced either. Like, we're supposed to have had the Centre of Excellence developed since Simon Harris was Minister for Health. So we are pursuing in the 2025 estimates for Letterkenny Hospital, they had also put in for a paediatric endocrinologist. So that needs to be sanctioned and put in place. And then we also still need the building. But another critical point to do with type 1 diabetes, which is a life-threatening condition, is getting psychology support. There's no psychology support in Letterkenny Hospital. So we're pursuing that as well. So delighted to the advancements now this week, but there's so much more to do, and we will hopefully be talking soon with even more good news.
Yeah, exactly, and it's really important. And I was making this point to the Health Minister as well, is that, you know, we need the good news too. We need the progress, because we're more than happy to bring and deliver good news, and hopefully for diabetes patients that this feels like a good day. They've heard about this already, I presume, but just hearing directly from you, Paul, that, you know, diabetes, their condition, is beginning to be taken more seriously here, that we're seeing more staff and that there's maybe hope for this person who's waiting 5 years for an appointment with a podiatrist. So fingers crossed that momentum keeps moving forward in a positive way in the area of diabetes care.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're more hopeful. In years gone by, Sean Murphy used to say what we were seeking was aspirational, but I think he now has a better understanding of the critical illness that is diabetes, and the last few meetings in the hospital have been more positive as well. So hopefully proper resources are coming into place very, very soon.
All right, and I know it's an ongoing situation and that there's nothing been won as such yet. There's battles have been won. Paul, you tirelessly campaign in this area, and you have been doing for a long time. And I think if it wasn't for your advocacy and those that support you in it, we wouldn't be having this conversation today. So congratulations to you.
As I mentioned to the Minister when we met her, that it's 11 years we've been hammering the exact same resources and pushing for the exact same resources. So no, I think she was probably taken aback that how far Letterkenny was behind compared nationally, and we're way behind any government or HSE guidelines. So we're very, very hopeful that there's a bit of a turn in the corner now, that things are going to improve.
Let's hope. Good stuff, Paul. Have a good weekend. Paul Gillespie, Chair and PRO of the Donegal branch of Diabetes Ireland. My next guest joining me after these.
At Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, Donegal Town, they have fantastic packages on full home renovations. Whether you're looking to update your kitchen, bedroom or living room, visit cherrymore.ie, proud sponsors of today's show.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'd be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'd be them. 07491 43942.
At Specsavers, we've got hearing devices that can stream music or movies. Ones that are good in crowds, rechargeable battery ones that are good at home, ones that are good in the great outdoors, ones that connect to phones, ones that fit in your ear, ones that fit over your ear, ones that fit in wherever you happen to be. We've even got ones in our advanced range that use AI to make speech sound clearer, and they're all available at great Specsavers prices. So book a free hearing check today, because OK hearing is not OK. Terms and conditions apply.
Meet Mike. He's here to tell you why you should switch to Outsurance and save on your car insurance.
Hi, I'm Mike from County Kerry. I made the switch to Outsurance and saved €143. I'm also on my way to getting 10% cash back with their Out bonus.
Like the sound of that? For a competitive car insurance quote like Mike's, call 1-800-600-400 or visit outsurance.ie. Real people, unreal savings. Outsurance. You always get something out. Based on a like-for-like policy comparison, the customer received a gratuity for their participation. Out bonus calculated less taxes and levies. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Car and home insurance is underwritten by Outsurance DAC. Outsurance DAC, trading as Outsurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Get your home and garden summer ready with Watson Hire in Letterkenny. From lawnmowers to trimmers and compost to lawnmowers, they have everything you need to tidy, clean and green your space. If you're painting, inside or out, choose the best value paint in Donegal from top names like Fleetwood and Johnson's. Watson Hire, open 6 days a week at Lisnen and Letterkenny, with great deals to have your home and garden looking their best. See watsonhire.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Get set for summer with all new arrivals dropping every week, from fashion to footwear and homeware to cosmetics. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Breezy, humid and mostly cloudy with outbreaks of rain and drizzle, moderate to fresh gusty southwest winds. Now, this year's Crinne na Nog, the annual Day of Free Creativity for Children and Young People, takes place on Saturday the 7th of June. Here in Donegal, there's over 35 events the public can try for free, with venues, organisations all over the county taking part, from Carndonagh to Bundoran and Ironmore to Raphoe, in family resource centres, libraries, art centres and community halls. There's even a chance to get a STEM laser maze posted to your house, and yes, that is free. Right, we're joined by this year's Donegal Crinne na Nog Young Ambassadors, Bridgeen Boner. Good morning to you, Bridgeen. How are you keeping? Good, I'm good. It's good to have you with us. And also we have with us, we're getting feedback on Bridgeen there. If you could just mute Bridgeen till I come to you, if that's okay. Micheál Deely's also with us as well. Good morning, Micheál.
Morning, how are you?
Good. So what's your role as a Crinne na Nog ambassador? Micheál, I'll put that to you. Yeah, what's your role as an ambassador?
Our role is to spread creativity and help young people see how their creative role can impact the future in such a positive way.
And what will you be doing as part of the annual day?
I'll be in Donegal Town Castle, and we'll be hosting a load of free events on the 7th of June.
Talk to me about the event. What could people look forward to?
There are there were loads of things for. I think we were getting a circus. There was Into the Town. There was
loads of stuff. You think on that while I'll say hello to Bridgeen Boner. Bridgeen, what is your role from your perspective as a young ambassador as part of Crinne na Nog?
To promote creativity in the country.
And what is your creative flair? What do you like to do creatively?
I like to play music. I play 9 instruments.
9?
And I like to draw.
Okay, well, you've plenty of time. What instruments do you play?
Guitar, ukulele, mandolin, banjo, tin whistle, flute, wee bit of keyboard, fiddle, and bass.
Brilliant stuff. Are you in a band or do you...
Yeah.
Okay, well, probably only a matter of time. And what are you doing on the 7th of June?
I'm going to Ironmore for storytelling, dance, music and Kaylee on the 7th of June.
All right, fantastic. And you're inviting anyone who's interested to come along, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant stuff. Well, listen, Bridgeen, thank you very much indeed. Micheál, what do you enjoy doing in the creative space?
I and a few of the friends just back in March, we entered into Junketure and we created a dress out of sanitary products. It was called Pink Strings Attached. So I love to design and things like that. It was a really good experience.
Fantastic. And do you hope to go into that space in your career at some while away? Yeah, but would you hope to go into the sort of that design kind of space?
Yeah, it seems like it was really fun when we were doing it. So I'd say it'd be a really interesting and fun career to pursue.
All right, brilliant. Well, we wish you the very best of luck with that. Micheál, enjoy also the events down in the beautiful setting of the Donegal Castle. So just to remind us, what's actually happening in the castle? Do you have that with you?
Yeah, sorry. So it was the Makey Uppers. So they're a storytelling duo from Derry. There is the Cicated Circus. I'm probably pronounced that wrong. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
They're an acrobatic performance company. The Paddy Picasso, a visual artist known for their encouraging paintings, and the Green Fairy, they will bring a touch of environmental themes to the event, and Bunderella uh, is an entertainer known for their fun and flair.
All right,
adding
brilliant
to
stuff. Well,
festivities.
listen, have a fantastic day, Micheál. Thanks for helping us spread the information. So, as you mentioned, some of the highlights include what Bridgeen is involved in on Ironmore, but also what Micheál's involved in at the Donegal Castle. They've got a number of Irish language events throughout the Gaeltacht too. There's a full list by location at donegalculture.ie. Cruna Crinu Nanog is part of Donegal County Council's Culture Division. I'm joined in studio now by Garda Inspector Sean McDade. Sean, thank you so much for calling in to us. How are you keeping?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I think it's our first time chatting, so it's good to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Right, we are heading into the June bank holiday weekend, and as always, on Garda Síochána, the Road Safety Authority, are trying to get the message out there. We don't know who we reach, do we, Sean, when we do appeals like this, but we just hope we reach someone who might otherwise have been involved in a fatal collision or a collision that might leave them with life-changing injuries. We just hope we reach them every time we have these conversations, and that's why we continue to bang the same drum, I suppose.
That's true, Greg. I think if we reach one person and can save one life, then it's a very, very worthwhile exercise.
We hear from Gardaí on a Tuesday here that we seem to have a continued high rate of drink and drug driving. We know from statistics that, well in excess of 2,000 people were caught speeding in Donegal in the first 4 and a bit months of the year. It's kind of frustrating, I use that word again, that, things aren't improving like we would like to see them improve.
Well, I think the reason that the speeders are up so far is the new speed camera at Newton Cunningham that's detected an awful lot of speeding drivers, which is great, and has the effect now of slowing drivers down on that stretch of road, which is notorious for fatal collisions. As well as that, there's increased visibility from the Gardaí. We're out there, we're trying to detect speeding, slow people down, save lives.
And that's what it's all about. That's what this conversation is about, isn't it? I mean, you're not on commission.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's about really trying to change behaviours, to reach people, to make them make different decisions. We also learned from the RSA that their analysis has found that over 1/3 of driver fatalities with a toxicology result available during years 2016 to 2022 had a positive toxicology for alcohol. So it still is one of the key factors. Impaired driving is still, along with speed and distracted driving, etc. These are the key areas. We know what causes the collisions to a great extent.
That's true, Greg. Again, intoxicated driving, drink or drugs, not wearing seatbelts also. Distracted driving is a huge thing these days. Like if you're driving along the road, if you look at the drivers that you're passing, some are on their phones, some are not eyes on the road, their eyes are down, so you can assume that they're on their phone scrolling something, and it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, and also the stats show us some, and when I say stats, we are fully conscious, of course, that these are people we're talking about, but it's when collisions are most likely to happen. So let's compare off-peak to peak hours. 70% of driver fatalities with a toxicology result available during off-peak hours between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. had a positive toxicology for alcohol. This compares to 21% during peak times. So we know what's happening there, isn't it? People are drinking at night or drinking when they're out and risking it driving home. And these are toxicology findings from fatalities, fatal road traffic collisions. So it's purely and clearly evident what's causing the problem to a great extent.
Well, what we would advise is that if you are going out over the weekend, especially the bank holiday weekend, there is an increased Garda visibility and Garda presence on the road. We would implore you, do not drink or drive. Plan your night out, but also plan your way home. Because when you're out, and taxis are limited, so if you can get a designated driver, there are initiatives in place where the designated driver can avail of free soft drinks. So pick your driver for each night and get them to drive home safer.
You do have to plan, because I think anyone who's ever been out has found themselves at that point where it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And if there were 1,000 taxis, they'd all be busy. You know, you have to plan. You can't leave it to chance.
That's correct. Taxis are busy and they are doing their best to get people home, but it's just sheer volume of numbers, especially bank holiday weekends, where there's an increased pedestrian footfall. People are out socialising, enjoying themselves.
Yep, and of course, listen, your colleagues in the past in the Garda Representative Association or otherwise will talk about Garda numbers. We'd always need more Garda numbers, but it should be noted that there are resources there and they are used to their full extent over weekends like this. The Gardaí will be out and about, whether you see them or not. They're out and about, and the statistics show you're pulling people for drinking, drug driving and speeding all of the time.
That's correct, Greg. There's a huge operation in place over the June bank holiday weekend, locally and nationally, for the traffic corps, but not just the traffic corps, it's the regular units as well that do the bulk of the lifting in relation to the drink and drug drivers. They're busy, they're out there, they're watching, they're trying to keep people safe, and we'd ask just that everybody don't drink and drive.
And of course, you mentioned a little earlier on, you know, you could find yourself without a lift trying to walk home, and you might think that's the better of two evils, right? But I mean, you know, often you're dressed for going out, not for walking home or cycling home or scooting home. Do you know what I mean? It's not just drivers here. Other road users really have to make sure that they protect themselves as well.
That's correct. The pedestrians, there's a lot of pedestrians being killed on our roads at the minute, and they're walking possibly narrow roads, poorly dressed, wearing dark clothes. Again, it's back to planning and preparation.
Exactly. And also to, you know, like what I do, well, I don't have to do it as such because the boys don't drink as such, but is, you know, let them know, if you can't get a lift home, give me a buzz. You know, it doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I know that sounds like, but I think every parent would do it, right? Because you want your young people or those you love to get home safe. So, you know, if you're stuck, give me a ring.
That's the same in my house. Even when I was growing up, if you were out and you had no way home, the option is ring mum or dad.
Yeah.
They'd come and get you. They'd be delighted to come and get you. Instead of getting a knock on the door at 4 o'clock in the morning from us, giving you bad news.
What responsibility do you think, you know, passengers have? Because if you're stuck, or even if you're not stuck, you might just think it's a bit of crack, you know, to pile into a car, even if the person's not drinking, you know, that's driving. You know, maybe there's not enough seatbelts for the amount of people that are in the car. You know, we've seen many multiple occupancy fatalities in our county, and the focus is on drivers. And recently we have also put the focus on passengers, but it is important, isn't it, that passengers advocate for themselves or try and, you know, intervene to prevent a fatality.
Absolutely. The thing about the passengers, probably the hardest thing to do is to tell the driver, slow down, please slow down, I don't feel safe. And generally the driver will then take cognizance of that and will slow down. And you could be saving everybody's life in the car.
Sean, is there anything else in particular that you want to point out about the operation over the weekend, or any particular advice that you think is important, even if it kind of overlaps with what we've already talked about?
Well, the key message from the Gardaís: never ever drink and drive. That includes drink and drugs. Never hold or touch a mobile phone while driving. Leave the distractions out of the car. So if you have a mobile phone, put it in the glove box. The texts can wait. A lot of cars these days have Bluetooth. Don't activate the Android Auto or the CarPlay.
It is so, you know, it is the exact same as the screen.
Absolutely.
The messages pop up in the middle of the console, and in a way, I think there's almost a full sense of security. You glance to the center, and you know you can read the message. You know, it's it's in modern cars, isn't it?
You can deactivate it. You don't have to select it. So I would suggest don't select that, but the text messages can wait. Drive within the speed limit. You should be able to stop in the distance you can see to be clear, especially on the back roads and the by roads. If you're going so fast that you go around a corner and you can't stop, then you're going too fast. Watch out for other vulnerable road users, especially motorbikes when the weather's good. A lot of motorcycle fatalities this year. There's been 10 so far. And always, passengers and drivers, wear your seatbelts.
it's hard to overestimate the importance of wearing a seatbelt. And I would say, Sean, you've been to fatal road traffic collisions, and road traffic collisions generally, and I've spoken to colleagues in the past. It's very evident when seatbelts have been worn and when they haven't been worn.
I have been at fatal collisions where seatbelts have not been worn, and if they had been worn, they would still be here today.
Yeah, which is a very, very simple but a very important message. All right, Inspector Sean McDade, thanks very much for that. Stay safe yourselves out on the roads as well too. That has inherent dangers as well in doing the work that you do. Thank you very much indeed for your time. That's Inspector Sean McDade there. We'll be back with more, in fact, the 11 o'clock news after the break.
Bring your dream kitchen to life with Cherrymore. Discover functional, beautiful designs with a wide range of colours and styles to suit any project. Learn more at cherrymore.ie, proud sponsors of today's show.
Summer Sounds at Harvey's Point. Every Wednesday from May the 21st until June the 25th, a magical evening of music, song and dance from some of Ireland's greatest stars. Gourmet dinner, the warmest of welcomes. Don't delay. Book today. harveyspoint.com or 074 972 2208. That magical evening on the shores of Loch Esk awaits.
New store, new project. Your new B&Q and TradePoint Letterkenny is now open. Dreaming of a garden glow-up, fresh colour for your walls, or a new kitchen? Whatever you need for your next home improvement project, we're here to help at your new B&Q Letterkenny. Find us at Unit 4 Letterkenny Retail Park, Neil T. Blaney Road. We're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday. You can do it when you B&Q it.
Sizzling savings at Doherty Super Value Carndonagh. 33% off salmon sides and trout fillets. 25% off housekeeper's roast. And 2 for €8 across the signature taste range. Great food, great prices. Shop smart and local with real rewards at Doherty Super Value Carndonagh.
Top cap payments revealed. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we reveal who's getting the highest farm payment in your county. Court showdown in the battle for Barn Estate. Mart manager sound alarm on TB proposals. Crime gang targeting farm jeeps. Everything you need to know about registering a right of way. Top tax tips for your farm. Plus free 36-page summer food magazine. And don't miss your chance to win a Yamaha quad. Collect 3 tokens to enter. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
Coonies have gone sofa mad with incredible savings on the Brooklyn sofa 3 and 2 with console all reclining. Was 2097, now only 1299, saving €798. The Sydney sofa 3 and 2 and 311 was 1897, now only 1499, saving €398. All sofas in stock ready for immediate delivery, but hurry, only while stocks last. Coonies Home Interiors, style and perfection at incredible value.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okie doke, it's 11 o'clock. It's time for a news update, and we welcome into studio Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A Letterkenny businessman says the day there is no traffic in the town will be worse than the current situation. Leonard Watson was reacting to the passing this week of 2 active travel plans, which will see additional cycle lanes installed on the Ballyrain and Circular Road, as well as the signalisation of 2 roundabouts. Despite calls for a decision on the plans to be deferred, they were passed following a vote. The Taoiseach is describing Irish peacekeepers being fired at in Lebanon as intimidatory action by Israel. The Defence Forces said several small arms rounds were fired near a joint patrol with the Lebanese armed forces close to the Blue Line. No injuries were reported and the patrol safely withdrew from the area. Meanwhile, Hamas says it's still considering a ceasefire deal put forward by the US. Israel's understood to have agreed to the terms, which include a 60-day pause in fighting in Gaza and the return of 9 living Israeli hostages. The The Donegal branch of Diabetes Ireland has welcomed the announcement that funding is being made available for the immediate recruitment of a new advanced nurse practitioner for the adult diabetes service at Letterkenny University Hospital. However, they say much more needs to be done. Confirmation comes following news that a consultant endocrinologist for the adult diabetes care services is due to start work in the hospital in the coming weeks. The Minister for Older People and Housing has confirmed that recruitment is currently underway for a consultant for the Memory Assessment Support Service in Donegal. Minister Kieran O'Donnell has announced the commencement of the implementation of a National Dementia Registry for Ireland. It will assist in improving dementia care quality, address service gaps and plan services for the increasing number of people with dementia. Carelon Global Solutions Ireland has confirmed 24 jobs will be lost in Donegal as it ceases its operations in Ireland. The company, which provides digital integrated solutions for the healthcare industry, has been based in Ireland for the past 4 years. In a statement, Carelon says after careful consideration and a consultation process, a decision has been reached to cease operations. And Donegal County Council is being urged to make its black and minority ethnic inclusion strategy widely available across the county. Councillor Terry Crossan made the call following the recent launch of the North West Anti-Racism Charter. Donegal's BME inclusion strategy aims to send a clear message that there's no place for hate in the county and only respect and a shared sense of community is welcomed. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thanks very much.
Aidan's just missed the ice cream van and can hear the song fade into the distance. But it's no bother, as Mam stocked up for summer with Aldi's specially selected luxury Irish ice cream, Madagascan vanilla, for only $2.99. He's also been treated to delicious 100% Irish fresh strawberries. Ooh! New season, Board Bia quality assured, and only $2.65. The ice cream van's nothing but a distant memory. Good food, good mood, from Aldi, while stocks last.
That is entertainment with Michael Leddy. Good morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Greg Hughes.
Good morning to you, Fionnuala Rabbit.
Good morning.
Yeah, I think you're a bit of an AH, really.
Oh, really?
I just thought I'd say it now.
Might as well. Can be no repercussions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, there can. Yes, there can.
My reach is far. It's far.
Right, so come here. This is our last That's Entertainment in this guise. You're going to be less available. Michael's taking a break for the summer.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully he'll come back. So how are you feeling?
Well, I kind of sad and nervous and all that kind of thing all together. But as I said when we mentioned it before, my time here in Donegal has been transformative. I just had such an amazing time.
We made you who you are.
100%. I seriously cannot. Donegal has definitely, not necessarily you specifically, but you had a hand in it.
Yeah,
but
probably a little.
But no, Donegal specifically has made me what I am. It has been an amazing time, and I look forward to coming up on holidays and coming up for meetings and staying a few days and actually getting, because I still have never gotten to Tory. Everywhere else I managed to get, but I still haven't gotten to Tory, so that's definitely on the list.
Yeah, Tory's great.
That I have to do. Yeah, so looking forward to coming up more in a holiday mode anymore now.
Of course,
and
guesting on That's Entertainment into
That's
the future.
it,
Michael, what's it
exactly.
been like working? Well, not working, waffling alongside Fionnuala?
Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, well then I won't ever...
It's better radio.
It's better radio. Well, it's heartbreaking that Fionnuala's leaving. I was just starting to like her.
Yes,
just coming around to her quirks.
It does take a number of years.
It does take a number of years.
Yeah.
It's been amazing, not just because of this slot, but also because we've hung out a lot privately.
But thanks to this slot, though.
It was, yeah. I helped the friendship.
You
100%. Yeah, once Fionnuala got my number and my home address, unfortunately, that was it locked in. That was locked in. But yeah, we met through this slot.
Sends my payslips to a PO box. I haven't divulged
See, I
that
need to learn
information
from
yet.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Need to learn from you. I made a tragic mistake.
Yeah, all right, okay. You were at the cinema, Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. I'm really looking forward to seeing it, and I would love to get a chance to see it on the big screen because pretty much everything Tom Cruise is in is good. Really, generally speaking. I mean, I can't really think of many stinkers. And he's put a lot of himself into the franchise, and I presume it's great.
Oh no! Look it is complete. No, it absolutely. It's completely within the Mission Impossible franchise. You know what I mean? It exactly is what it says on the tin. My only thing is it like they start off and they said this is the final one. I think it needs to be the final one.
Yeah.
Well, if I've watched them all from the beginning and Michael hasn't.
Yes, I've only seen this one and the last one.
Right. Oh, really?
So he's only seen the two, whereas I've watched them from the beginning. And if you watch them from the beginning, much as he does some crazy stuff in this, it's still like at one point there's a fight scene and we don't see it. We're looking at the expression.
Has he outgrown the role?
I know. I hate to say it as I'm aging myself, but I
and
think,
he looks great and fantastic.
He looks amazing.
And he does. There's a one of those crazy stunt scenes that he does, and you're like watching it, going, "I bet you this crazy guy actually did all
I'm
of
sure
that
he did.
himself."
Yeah. I know the way you mean.
You know the way it's all like nearly done, like it's in one sequence. It's insane. But there is little bits where you're kind of like thinking to yourself. For me, because I've seen them all from the beginning, you're like, that was a bit weird that they didn't kind of show that fight. And you're like, that normally would have been one of the highlights of it. You know, the way I do think he's just kind of aging out of it a little bit.
Which we all are. I mean,
he's in his 60s now.
Yeah,
it's
63
crazy.
years old.
Who would have thought when you're watching, what's his face, Liam Neeson in Taken 3, that his next role is in Police Squad or whatever it's called.
Comedy, Naked Gun,
You
you're
have
right.
to move to a certain
you have to change things up a bit. And I think that's it. Now, and also it very much, what I liked about it is it very much kind of wrapped it.
Yes.
And I'd hate to see, I think that if they do another one, what they should have done in it, and this is my own opinion, is they should have brought in a new Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
They should have tried to find, the way, and then they could continue it on because they're still. But even Simon Pegg, who's in it, is kind of, even him, you're kind of like going, oh
he
God.
He can't be the quirky nerd anymore. He's like,
Yeah.
seriously.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're a grown.
5 kids and being laboured with a terrible mortgage
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that kind of an idea of
you
it.
can't tell me what a JPEG is.
Yeah. But it's, you know what I mean? He doesn't know what TikTok is. You know what I mean?
It could be Origin. I mean, they can do a Mission Impossible Origins, or they could,
go back.
Oh, 100%. There's lots of different things, but I would like. There's a couple.
But even
of
early on, when
characters
Ving
in this.
Rhames came in, there was like, as is always, this is one of the things I'll miss. Fionnuala communicating with me during the film, and it was like Ving Rhames.
I have a feeling it's not fully over, but go on.
They've all got very old, haven't they? That was early on in the film.
Yeah, you could. You can see different things in it. It's just
like and it's not the people; it's the characters. You're like, how are they action heroes if they're?
Yeah, but as Fionnuala said, if you watch the first one, he's 12, right?
Yeah.
And even with James Bond, I think they factored in his age. They played with that a little bit with what's his face. You know what I mean?
Daniel Craig when he was in it.
Banjaxed and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas, Mission Impossible stayed very true to what it is. If you look at like Fast and Furious, it's gone off all over the place, right? But Mission Impossible are good spy films, and they always have been. So you can see why we've grown up with them.
This one has actually gone a little bit Fast and Furious.
Has it?
There just seems to be to me that
Really?
was a word
I missed
that
that
came
bit.
into my
'Cause I
head
love
when
the
I was
Fast and Furious.
watching it. You know the way it's very much in this now, right? Is the story. So there is the entity which came into the thing, and then this is all about what is the entity. They kind of spend an awful lot of time like explaining what the entity is when you kind of already guess what it is.
Yeah,
it doesn't. There's bits of it that kind
But
of
they
doesn't
do
make.
talk a lot. They do a lot of talky.
Some
like,
of it doesn't.
talk.
I mean, it's 2.5 hours long, or just over 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's
and
a lot of talk.
You're kind of like, okay, you could have cut bits of,
a lot of it.
out of this. Like it's you know the way at one point, like they have to go and steal something in order to go to the next guy. And I'm like, just go to the guy. Don't bother stealing the thing. Like, just go to the guy and get the thing back off him.
Yeah.
You know, there's that little bit of that in it. But if you are you are not going to dislike this movie.
Yeah.
You're not going to walk away from it and think, "Oh God, that was
But
a
I
waste
think
of 2
that's
hours."
it.
Like, it goes fairly quick. You didn't feel
No,
like,
it didn't. Yeah, I agree.
Even
Yeah.
though it was long, you didn't feel like it was overly long.
To be honest with you, the fact that you're not, slagging it off left, right, and centre is impressive, considering it's the last in a very long series.
Oh, it's like the eighth one, yeah.
Yeah, eighth one in 30 years, yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But I really...
It did fly, but you were sometimes waiting, you were like, hurry up and get to the next action bit. But when they got to the next action bit, you were like, okay, this is good.
Yeah, there was a lot of different bits and pieces in it. But there was little things where you thought they could have done things better then. You know the way it's in, like there's a character that passes away in it, and you're kind of like going, I should have felt a little bit more about that. There's different things that happen. But then they've brought in different characters that people who've watched it from the beginning, they do little kind of flashbacky thingies where they kind of flash through different things that he's done over the time.
Anyone who's seen them all will get that.
If you've seen them all, you're kind of like going, oh wow. So there's little kind of bits like that.
And Hayley Atwell is fabulous in this. I mean, she's gorgeous, that's one thing. But she gets a lot of heavy lifting to do with the story. Like, she does a lot of... She does
a lot of the fight scenes.
I was reading... She was like almost 9 months pregnant for one of those fight scenes. I was reading it yesterday.
Wow.
She had trained for it. They said, you don't have to do it. And she was like, no, I've trained for it, I'll do it. She was like, but she looks amazing, and she carries the story in a lot of ways.
I think it might have been through lockdown or something, but I think me and Ashley watched one of them every night.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a thread of a story, and it's more apparent. It's more apparent when you watch them sort of in a shorter space.
Of course.
Yes.
And I think we did the same with James Bond.
Yeah.
Well,
they really hang together.
Yeah,
they
the Mission
really
Impossibles were kind of that bit further apart because he was always doing... Tom Cruise has done so many movies.
I have a feeling his Oscars and all are ahead of him. I can see him sort of transitioning into... dramatic
serious
films
kind of,
and stuff.
Yeah.
I think because
he has a pedigree of doing those kind of things when he was younger, so he could comfortably go back to it.
And I think because of his Scientology and all that kind of stuff, he kind of is easy to ridicule.
Yeah.
But as I say, he's one of a very small group of actors, as far as I'm concerned, that he makes entertaining films.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
he
a movie
absolutely
star.
does. But not only that, he has done some more dramatic stuff. If you think of like Eyes Wide Shut, you think of a few things like that. He got
boobs and bums though.
I know, but it's a very. It is. He's very good in it, and he's very dramatic in it.
Eyes Wide Shut.
He has, and I mean, he can do no wrong in my mind, just purely for his appearance in Tropic Thunder. Amazing.
Oh, yes.
Amazing. I even forgave him the jumping on the couch in Oprah.
Oh, he's brilliant.
He's so good in it. His comic timing, and apparently he came up with that.
Yeah.
They were
I
just...
might watch that film again.
I
might watch it.
It's so irreverent. If anybody hasn't seen it and you're over the age of 16, because there is some bits in it, and you need to realise the sarcasm and that kind of thing in it.
It's so sharp, yeah.
It's just... it's the best, worst movie ever made.
The fact that Iron Man hasn't been cancelled over it is
But they walked a very thin line there.
Everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
everything.
They nailed it, yeah.
It reminded me actually of...
Even Ben Stiller. Oh, my God.
It reminded me a wee bit of Tom Cruise's comedic... It's surprising. Reminded me a little bit of Hugh Grant in The Gentleman and stuff. Do you know where he sort of they let the reins off a little bit?
Yes.
And they can ham it up and lean into it.
Yeah.
The best, worst movie I've ever seen. It's so bad. It's just amazing.
It's hilarious. I think it's just class comedy.
It's just so funny. But he's amazing in that. And you just like, you can do no
unrecognizable.
Wrong. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
He can do no wrong for me.
The End of the World's a great comedy as well, with Zach What's-His-Face and...
Zac Efron?
Yeah. Zac Efron? It's actually quite a good film. It's one that you might not see, but comedies are so poor, but it's crude as well at times. But So Mission Impossible, my sense is that I think if I do get to see it, I do want to see this one on the big screen.
I would definitely.
Because it's a big film.
I would.
It's the end of a franchise, and it's been built for that, right? So that's really how you go.
I think your reasoning is right,
yeah. No, it definitely is. It's and even like as I said, there's one massive thing that he does in it, and you need the sound.
To
you
see it,
need-
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? You
Like
need
the one
the-
where he did a couple of films ago, whereby he went off the cliff on a motorbike, or where he's dangling out of the door in
Yeah.
an airplane. Completely no need to do it.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
you could green screen it
Yeah,
all
you
day.
could,
Oh,
Like,
so do you
there's
remember when
absolutely
he
no
was
need.
in Dubai and he was on like whatever, like
Oh,
a shard kind of
yeah.
thing,
One,
and
yeah.
he's running around the building, and he actually did that.
Yep.
And then he did one in London where he ran, he jumped from, he was doing like that parkour or whatever they
That's
call it,
right, yeah.
and he was and you can actually see where he broke his ankle and got up
Oh,
and
that's
stayed
right.
running.
Yeah.
Oh my! The man
He
is
does a lot
the
of
man
run-
is insane.
he does a lot of
Oh,
running
He does
in
a
this.
lot. He loves a good run.
He loves a good run, but
run.
like there was some parts
Do
early
you
on.
sort of grade people's when they stop running and grade how out of breath they are when there's running scenes?
Oh, he's never out of breath.
Huh?
And I have
He
to
just
say,
comes in and starts delivering
it's-
dialogue.
To
Yeah.
be honest, it's even there's something about the Mission Impossible as well. It's the score. Because like at
Yes,
times,
yes.
I mean, Tom Cruise has done this now for 8 movies. You know, you're fairly relied that when you're half an hour into the movie and he's in peril, I think he's going to be okay. You know what I mean?
good. I want
but,
that.
I know, but but it's the music.
The music.
You know, like you're sitting there going, and it's dum.
Oh, it's gonna
and you're
happen to him, yeah.
Oh my God, is he? And then you're like thinking, for God's sake, it's 20
He's
minutes.
running,
in.
he's running. Is he
This
gonna
thing
catch that
2.5
bus?
hours long. There's no way he's going to die in the first 20 minutes.
So, as someone who can reflect on the 7 previous arcade incarnations, and obviously with the fact that maybe they could have used the opportunity to tease a new character, and maybe that character might come from within the cast yet, what would you give it out of 10 as a going out cinema experience?
Yeah, it's not the best Mission Impossible. Like you said, it's a nice thing to sit down. I've seen better ones that had lots more action, that kind of thing. But I did really enjoy it, and I would give it a good solid 8, 8.5, that kind of thing. It really was. But I do think big screen.
And
Needs
as
a big
someone who
screen.
may have watched it simply as a courtesy,
Yes.
what would you give it out of 10, just as a standalone actioner?
I would give it a 7
Well,
because
I think that's pretty
yeah,
generous. think
I
it's
enjoyed it. My
Because
heart
you've got
belongs.
you've no emotional investment in the
That's
franchise.
it. Yeah,
so,
100%. Yeah. So all those flashbacks meant nothing much to me.
So a 7 is pretty decent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I enjoyed it. Like I'm not
All
going to say I
right.
didn't enjoy it.
It's been in the cinemas a wee while now, so get along.
Last Wednesday. Yeah. Wednesday of
That's
that.
when it launched.
Yeah.
All right. So it's got a good run yet to go in the cinema.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, it's only just out. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just-
Okay.
it's just out, yeah.
That is
Don't
Mission
lie on it, like, go
Impossible.
and see it.
Yeah,
You.
Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. Broadly liked by both Flula, who's a fan of the franchise, and Michael, who's just really a late adapter.
Was
Okay,
bullied into going.
we don't use the B word. It's 2025. You don't want Flula cancelled, do you? Back after these.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
With 29 years of experience, Cherrymore is trusted across Ireland for exceptional quality and service. Let their expert team guide you from concept to completion. Cherrymore.ie, proud sponsors of today's show.
The law around organ donation is changing. From June 17th, every adult in Ireland will be considered an organ donor when they die. We're doing this to help save and transform lives, and you will have the power to choose what's right for you. Talk to your family and friends to make sure they know your wishes. Find out more about the change at gov.ie/organ donation. A message from the Government of Ireland.
Easy Living Furniture's sizzling summer sale ends this Sunday. Don't miss out as absolutely everything's reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress and accessories. Summer sale ends Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, or online at easylivingfurniture.co.uk.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, Easy Living has it all. Easy Living Furniture, luxury furnishings, affordable luxury.
Get more for less this bank holiday with Lidl Plus. Grill up fish, board B approved meats or poultry, 3 for €9. And cool down with Guinness 15 packs, 15% off, now an incredible $24.85 plus deposit. Scan your Lidl Plus app and enjoy more for less when you go full Lidl this summer. Get the facts, be drinkaware, visit drinkaware.ie.
Donegal find themselves in a must-win situation as the All-Ireland Championship continues this weekend. Jim McGuinness's side are at Breffni Park to take on Cavan in their second group game. There will be full live match commentary here on Highland. Join myself, Oisín Kelly, alongside Brendan Devine and Brendan Kilcoyne from the 2 o'clock throw-in this Sunday.
Donegal action in this year's championship is brought to you by Highland Motors in Letterkenny with a fantastic selection of award-winning pre-owned cars. Choose from diesel, petrol, hybrid or full electric. All ready to drive away.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time is 20 minutes past 11, and we're in the company of Michael Leddy and Fionnuala Rabbit. There's a love affair between Bruce Springsteen and Ireland. He's just one of those artists. He's up there with sort of Garth Brooks and a few others, where there's that sort of traditional love of him here. And there's a special night dedicated to him on BBC Two coming up, Michael. Might be one for fans.
Correct. Tomorrow night, actually, here I have the timeline here. It starts at like 8:30. And you've got Bruce Springsteen at the BBC. Then you've got a documentary when Bruce came to Britain. Then you have a 2.5-hour concert. Then you have a secret history after midnight, and then they're showing that movie from a few years ago, Blinded by the Light. Do you know about a fan? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, from 8:30 through to the wee.
That is a full evening of
small
entertainment,
hours.
isn't it?
Unbelievable.
The BBC.
Has he passed away?
I think
if I was Bruce, I'd be checking my pulse.
I think that's even pushing the patience of fans.
I know.
Anyway.
The reason for this, the BBC, I'm going to read the press release. The BBC, because it's tomorrow night, BBC Two, the BBC is to celebrate Bruce Springsteen with a night of programming to commemorate the 50th anniversary of his first UK concert. So that's why.
And he's a wee bit toxic with half America at the moment because he's quite a vocal upholder.
I saw that.
Of,
people missing the point of his lyrics saying he shouldn't talk about politics. That's crazy.
Oh, I'm sure. And then Trump came out and said that he's untalented. I was like...
Well, he also produced a video of Bruce Springsteen falling on stage and then Donald Trump swinging a golf club as if to say,
I missed that, thank goodness.
I'm in better shape.
But then I've
than
blocked
ye.
the word Trump on a lot of my socials, so I don't want to be looking at that.
Oh, it's crazy.
The centrepiece of tomorrow night, by the way, is a brand new documentary from, it doesn't matter who it's from, but anyway, it's him talking in new interviews about his relationship with the UK. So for fans who may have seen some of the other stuff before, that's the centrepiece.
Yeah. And I think Irish memories might coincide with his performances in England.
One of the
well.
lads
he's been here so many
times. One of the lads I did the play with, one of the actors, massive Springsteen
Have
fan.
you seen him, Fionnuala?
Would you believe he's one of the few that I
And
haven't seen?
And it is one of the few.
One of the few. I've been lucky to see some amazing artists, but he's one of the few I haven't seen because every time I had the opportunity to go, he brought a different band. And I always wanted to see him with the E Street Band.
Yeah.
And then Clarence passed away.
And then
I missed the whole thing.
Okay.
So I was devastated by it because he used to bring the blue. He very much brought the bluegrass band here a lot because he does have about 3 different. Now I don't know the members, so it could be similar members crossing over. But he does have a big bluegrass band, and then he has the E Street Band, and then he has another crowd as well that he's brought here. And what I think what he likes about it is in Dublin, you can find him in.
A pub. Guinness,
yeah, you can find him in the pub playing and sitting in and just singing along.
Okay.
He seems to feel that he has a level of autonomy and that he can kind of go around and do what he likes when he's in Dublin, which is lovely. Yeah.
Okay. So that's your Tuesday night, your Saturday night sorted. And if you don't see it, I'm sure it's going to be repeated on BBC Four for eternity. That's generally what they do.
BBC Four is for.
Right. Foresters Community Hall Youth Drama Group are presenting Pudsey Blackthorn's Wake by Paula McMullen. And Paula's with me. Hiya, Paula.
How you doing, Greg? Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's good to have you on. Right. Now, there are shows in the Foresters Hall, Killybegs, on Saturday the 7th of June and Sunday the 8th of June. Admission is just €10 and people can pay on the door. So that's the housework out of the way. Talk to me about the play.
Okay, well, I've been writing plays locally for years. I actually don't know how many I've written, but I've been with the Foresters Community Hall Drama Group. We actually founded it 3 years ago. This is our 4th play in 3 years. There's always a core group of 30 kids, 27 of them, I think, on stage, and 3 that are backstage, stage management and scenery. So they're only aged 8 to 12.
Oh, lovely.
And this year we've gone steampunk with the costumes. So everyone has made their own costumes, and every costume, one is just even more exciting than the other. And so it's very much a do-it-yourself once the play is written. The play is called Pudsey Blackthorn's Wake. Pudsey Blackthorn is a human, and he rules the forest, and he's about to pass away. And meanwhile, his very greedy, selfish wife, Elspeth, has decided she's going to start cutting through the forest where the wee folk live to extend her kingdom. Now, this has annoyed every one of the goblins, the sprites and fairies in the forest, and some of them have decided they might like to be king themselves. So there's 3 or 4 of them grappling for the crown during the wake. But the good thing as well, during the wake, we will have a wake, and some of the kids, they're playing guitar, playing accordion, singing, and just singing and joining in. So it's kind of every talent they have. It makes me look cool.
There's a raffle on the night too in aid of the Blue Stack Foundation and Foresters Drama Group. A lot of people would say, what are you working with so many children for, Paula? But you must love it, and they're super talented too, and they're so invested, and their families are too, with the costume making and everything else. And it sounds like it's a really fun story.
We couldn't do it without the parents, but we are so lucky. The support I have from the committee at the Foresters Hall, if I need anything, it's there. Kelly Daly, who oversees everything. Kelly does all our social media, all our marketing. She's there all the time, whether she's needed or not, and everybody knows Kelly. But Kelly, again, makes me look cool because everything that we have from the posters, I would say, right, Kelly, this is what I would kind of like, and next thing, an extra masterpiece arrives. And I think to date, out of every play I've written, this poster is possibly one of my favourites.
It's lovely. It really is. It's actually, I was going to ask you that, but I was afraid to, because it's so good, in case you'd nicked it.
Oh, no, you can ask.
No, but do you know, I was afraid to ask in case you'd nicked it. Do you know, that sort of way? So I'm glad you haven't. It's beautiful.
No, we don't nick. But Pudsey, I'm from a family of 8 girls and 1 boy. And our brother, we called him Pudsey all his life.
Lovely.
So Pudsey Blackthorn is sort of after him. I have a son called Dulta, and God love him, all he ever got was Dooley. So there's a Dooley O'Hooley in the play. And they've all got really funky names like Lizzie Lemon Drop and Sissy Pebbleston. There's some real brats in it. I mean, acting as brats.
Yes.
But the noise level in the hall is something else. And by the end of the play, I won't sound like this anymore. You know, like an old community centre, you have to shout to be heard.
Yes.
Well, they're shouting, so you can imagine the level of me. But yeah, this year as well, another really amazing, we're so lucky that we have young Desmond Gallagher. He takes care of all our sound effects and lighting and sound, everything like that. And he comes with me to the hall every Monday, and he is just working his magic behind it. So we've loads of really stupid sound effects, like someone falling down a well. There's witches, there's goblins, there's sprites, there's the despicable human folk. And our logo for the whole play is "Do not disturb the wee folk." And I suppose when I started writing this, I have always had a passion for Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, and this is kind of my nod to it in a way. And there's all these different wee stories within a story happening in a forest and outside the forest. So,
listen, Paula, we wish you every success with it. It's on Saturday the 7th of June and Sunday the 8th of June in Foresters Hall, Killybegs. Doors open at 7:30pm. Show starts at 8. So much effort's gone into this, not just by the young people involved, but in terms of you and the directorship and writing and all that kind of stuff. You can pay just €10 at the door. There's a raffle on the night, and it's in aid of a fantastic charity. In fact, 2 great causes, the Blue Stack Foundation and the Foresters Drama Group, which gives so much joy to the community.
Yeah, we've decided we need our own microphone, so we're doing a raffle for that as well.
All right, okay.
But Greg, thank you so much for having us.
Best of luck,
kids will
Paula.
be stoked that they've been mentioned. All the very best.
Bye-bye. Take care of yourself, Paula McMullen there. Now, there is a coffee morning taking place in memory of Teresa O'Rourke, and all proceeds raised are in aid of the Kevin Bell Repatriation Trust, and it is on Sunday. It's at noon in the Meva Parochial Hall, and you'll have live traditional music during the afternoon, a collection of classic cars in the car park. You can enter the raffle and a chance to win great prizes. Make a donation at the door, no fixed amount, to be entered into a separate prize draw. It's a lovely setting, the Meva Parochial Hall, and the tea and whatever else they might have always at the very highest of quality. It's in memory of Teresa O'Rourke, and it's just one of a number of events taking place this weekend, and the second event taking place this weekend in support of the Kevin Bell Repatriation Trust, which just goes to show how important that trust has been to families in this county. And we heard yesterday from Noel Cunningham. He has his walk over the weekend as well. The Shreve League walk. Where is that walk? I'll mention that again before the end of the programme. We'll come back to that. And I'll come back to Michael and Fanula after these.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Need some inspiration for your home renovation? Explore Cherrymore's kitchen and bedroom collections and create a space as unique as you. Book your design appointment today at cherrymore.ie. Proud sponsors of today's show.
It's the perfect time to trade up with Opel. Whether you're in the market for a diesel, petrol, hybrid, or all-electric, find your perfect 252 from the incredible Opel range. Order your new Corsa, Astra, Mokka, or Grandland during the Opel 252 trade-up event and enjoy flexible payment options plus a €1,000 trade-up bonus. Opel's trade-up event. Find out more at Heron Auto Opel. See heronopel.ie for details. Terms and conditions apply. €1,000 trade-up contribution can be used as a trade-in or deposit booster.
We love better value at Dunnes Stores. Toast to savings with a great selection of wine, like Silver Mauky Blush, just €7.50, and Santa Rita Sauvignon Blanc, just €8. And pop a can of your favourite Pringles, like original or salt and vinegar, now half price. Plus, you can save at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
Join Slee Columkill on Saturday, June 7th for a special one-day 18-kilometre guided trail from Creeslough to St Columkill's Abbey and Garton. Follow in the footsteps of history with amazing scenery and heritage at every turn. Registration is at 9 a.m. at St Michael's Church, Creeslough, and you will be guided every step of the way. For more information and to book your place, visit sleecolumkill.org.
New store, new project. Your new B&Q and TradePoint Letterkenny is now open. Dreaming of a garden glow-up, fresh colour for your walls, or a new kitchen? Whatever you need for your next home improvement project, we're here to help at your new B&Q Letterkenny. Find us at Unit 4 Letterkenny Retail Park, Neil T. Blaney Road. We're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday. You can do it when you B&Q it.
Dreaming of the perfect wedding? At Jackson's Hotel Ballybuffet, we make dreams come true. Our stunning Fin Suite with private entrance, sweeping staircase and terrace views offers a romantic setting for your special day. From intimate gatherings to grand celebrations, our dedicated team ensures every detail is flawless. Say I do at Jackson's Hotel, where love stories begin. Visit jacksonshotel.ie today.
And, of course, a big part of what we do here is supporting our wonderful communities out there. And the Inish Tractor Run is on this Sunday, starting at 11 a.m. at Banbacrown, Mallinhead. It's their 11th year, and they've given over €250,000 to charity. This year's charities are the Donegal Hospice, Inishowen Hospice and Bumbleance. The tractor run is followed up with a barbecue at Malin Stables. Well, you have me at barbecue. In Malin Town from 5 p.m. onwards with live music throughout the evening into the night. This year's acts are Michaela Harkin, Gary Fitzpatrick and Mike Denver. Right, okay, Mike's up as well as the other two. That's from 11 p.m. So that sounds like a fantastic Sunday, that. So tractor run, barbecue, brilliant music, and you don't have to work the next day, potentially. So it's sure to be a great day's entertainment for the whole family. Help them add to that total €250,000 over 11 years. Remarkable. Now, Hidden Gems, CDP, Naross and Shop in Annagry, they're celebrating their first anniversary this Sunday at 2 p.m. They're having a free music show with Margot, the Queen of Irish Country Music, in Scubble on Pubble, Annagry. Everyone there is welcome. Wow, there's lots to do this weekend. Probably nothing to do in Galway.
I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure of it. Well, there's so much fantastic stuff that always goes on here. I was going to say to you there during the break, I'm really going to miss the amateur dramatics.
Yes.
It's so good. If I say one thing before it's
And then I jokingly said, "You mean the sales team?"
Yeah. They are dramatic, but no. No, it's just, I've always been staggered by how good it is up here. It's so
I had to
good.
pick a department in the next couple of minutes. I didn't want to do news because I have to go in there. But
It can find you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah, of course. And I suppose maybe we take it for granted, but it's
I think
somewhat
you
unique.
definitely do. I mean, like coming up from Galway, where you have the Druid and you have all these big, theatre companies, and obviously a massive population. Like, I mean, there's over 250,000 people living in Galway City and County. I've never seen anything like the
Like, if you think in this
stuff we have
county,
here.
Michael, from the Abbey in Ballyshannon all the way up through the county, and then you talk about, the traditional music, the musicians we have, the young bands.
It's phenomenal.
Then we've got the internationally well-known trad musicians and stuff. Like, and then you could even go into the world of sport if you wanted to. For the county of 167 on
what it produces, and the caliber, the high caliber, and
that's insane.
Like my Facebook feed, when you mention musicians and people I follow, it's all these Donegal people that are doing really well and they're really connecting with audiences and with their it's fantastic.
And a lot of them, it's like a lot of the same music. It's artists, they're there, they have the catalogue. It's just the break they're looking for.
Yeah.
Because they have the quality that's there. It's amazing. Yes, it's a wonderful county to be a part of, I must say. Serial Killers, a podcast. I watched a few documentaries down this neck of the woods. They can be a bit hit and miss, but I've watched some great ones.
Yes.
Podcasting, a huge podcast. This comedy's my podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I decided to just go out of my comfort zone for this. Yeah. So Serial Killers is the name of a podcast, and it's got to date 605 episodes. So I didn't listen to them. I know, well, yeah, exactly. I didn't listen to them all, although I do like to be prepared, but I wasn't able to do that. But I decided to start with the most prolific serial killer of all, who was a name that was unknown to me, Gary Ridgway.
Okay.
He is the Green River Killer. And so the podcast, first of all, has been around for almost a decade. And for several years, it was co-hosted by Greg Paulson and Vanessa Richardson. So they host the show, and it's actually very different to any podcast that I kind of heard before, because it's not a straight-up documentary where you have a narrator and you have all those audio clips. Now, you do have audio clips. In this two-parter, each episode being 45 minutes, we get to hear the police, not transcripts, but the police audio from interviews. We get to hear courtroom. So we hear the actual killer a lot in it. But what they do is they have like a scripted conversation, which I can only describe as a very American way of doing things. So Greg is the host, and he brings on Vanessa, and he explains that she's not a psychologist, but she's an expert. So they have these fake conversations where he's kind of shocked by things, and she explains Freud to him. And Freud,
when you say, is that a review when you say it's fake conversation?
Well,
do they know what they're doing?
They know what they're doing, and they're very polished. It's very American. It reminds me of shows I used to see over here in the 80s, like Ripley's Believe It or Not, or Foul Ups, Bleeps and Blunders, where the hosts have a conversation where Greg almost acts as if it's scripted, as if he doesn't know anything about it. So he says, I would imagine a serial killer will, who's prolific as this, will spread far and wide and will not. And she's like, no, actually what's happened here is I know she tells us how this guy stayed very close to home, very fascinating man. And then she talks about his Oedipus complex and how he had very, sexual feelings for his mother. And our male host is like,
got us the last one for a while.
Oh, really? And he's so shocked. Like,
he knows.
He knows what he's talking about. So it's kind of got a fake vibe, but it means that they fill an hour and a half very easily by doing this. Yeah. So they focus on this guy.
It sounds like he's kind of maybe supposing what the audience might be.
Exactly. It's a POV kind of guy. Now, they're both excellent, and they're both very, very strong. Now, they were there for about 300 episodes. I've read that they've moved on since to separate podcasts. And the podcast still continues, and it's massive. 600 episodes over the last decade.
Remarkable.
605 episodes. So this story, anyhow, is a dark story of the most prolific serial killer in American history. He was extremely prolific in the early 1980s for 2 or 3 years. He, at one point, killed 10 different women in 6 weeks. And they really go to explain how incredible that is compared to Bundy or any of the other serial killers. This guy was just, and it was Washington State, so it's Pacific Northwest. But this guy was just, this was something he did. It was a hobby. you hear him talking at great length, and it's so casual and so without empathy and so without feeling that it's really dark stuff. He got away with it. He was married 3 times. The first 2 marriages, his first wife, unknowingly, they would go out in the woods and he would stalk her, and she would play games with him where she would sneak up on him and he would sneak up on her. She thought there was nothing weird about any of this. But his third wife, who he married in the mid-80s, was the great love of his life. And he has said that once he found her, he lost interest in his little hobby. And between 1985 and 1998, he only killed 6 women.
So that was him. That was him when he was reined in.
She had no idea, and her story is told to some degree. The onslaught of ridicule that woman has faced, obviously, when he was captured.
Well, this type of stuff is very listenable too, because I find myself, there's certain types of documentaries where if you've got a lot of source material, they're very entertaining, but you don't really have to see it because often it's grainy corner of a room footage. So I might actually give this one a dabble.
This one is worth, if you were to, because I think you'll enjoy it because they have his audio and you hear him being interviewed and then you hear him in court. You also hear one of the victim impact statements, a mother of one of the victims. But it's dark but fascinating, well put together, and I would call it slick.
All right.
Slick. And I would imagine, this is a very successful podcast. I imagine they're all very similar. It's a slick show, and I know so many people love this genre.
All right, serial killers. Yeah, indeed, it's one of those ones because we've talked about this last week. No point raking over old ground. I want to wish all the competitors from Lough Swilly Sea Angling Club travelling to Kerry for the All Ireland Sea Angling competition. Good luck. Hope that goes well for you. This is actually really quite interesting. It's a bit of breaking news, but is actually in the area of broadcast entertainment. Jerry Adams has won his defamation action over the BBC Spotlight programme and has been awarded 100k in damages. So that's really quite significant.
Jeez, BBC seem to be so. I just saw them talking about it again. It was a news documentary, and they seem so confident.
Sources, sources that you can't name. It's very ropey. It's a very strong accusation that's made.
Yeah.
It's one thing saying that he may or may not have been the head of an organisation, but to imply that he was directly responsible or okayed the death of somebody else, you really need to be sound in relation to that.
Yep.
Okay, that's that. Right, now I just want a quick mention of a different form of entertainment. It's the 47th Interfirms Road Race, and it's running on the original course, and it's based in and around Letterkenny. And Raymond Birch is joining us to discuss this. Right, a big it's not a milestone because it's like not a 50 or 40 or a 60 as such, Raymond, but my word, 46 previous runnings of a 5K, and it's on again. Pretty impressive work.
Yeah, good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me. The 47th edition. It's probably one of the longest established 5Ks in and around the northwest. So it is, and it's dating back to 1978. So it's good to have it on in and around Letterkenny.
Well, thanks for reminding me.
Original course.
Thanks for reminding me. 1978 was 47 years ago. I really appreciate that. Obviously, there's lots of different 5Ks and what have you. The interfirm element of this is how it stands out, I think, and the team element to it. Talk to me about that and how important it is that, if businesses aren't involved, that perhaps they do.
Yeah, well, we're very lucky to have Hickey Clark and Langham as our main sponsor, and it's as I say, it's a team element. It was touted way back at the beginning when firms obviously. They wanted to have a bit of fun maybe in the evenings and have a bit of a challenge, and we decided we'd bring the 5K element into it, and we normally had a men's team and a women's team. This year we brought in a mixed team, which you could have either 2 men and a woman or a woman and 2 men to add to a bit of fun to it. When you see the success of the Really for Life last week and the pushing of the car and the team event, so it's something that we strive to have in the club as well.
Brilliant. It's not too late either. Registration is on the morning. It's €10 online, €15 on the day, so obviously more advantageous to do it online. And things get underway at the Ora Leisure Centre from 9 a.m. on Sunday week. Is that right?
Yeah, Sunday the 8th, the race starts at 10:30 and the registration from 9 in Nora. This year as well, we brought in, because the course record is 14:06, was set by our own Danny McDade back in 1979.
Brilliant.
So this year we're offering €200 for anybody that can break the course record.
Excellent. That's a nice little angle, Raymond. Well done for you coming up to that one. Well done to Hickey, Clark and Langan, insurance brokers, as the title sponsor, and we appreciate your time. Okay, you can
Lovely,
go
thanks,
on to eventmaster.ie/event/GQ. Search Eventmaster and 47th International Road Race. They need to come up with a different way with GoFundMe and Eventmaster of making the URL a little bit more manageable.
Read them out and it makes it.
Exactly. But anyway, you will find it. There's a QR code knocking around the place as well. So if you're a business, you want to get a few together, that is Sunday week. There is another thing here. What's your eyesight like? Do you want to do that one, Michael? Because the printing is just too small for me.
So basically, do you want to read the whole thing?
Well, just pick it out. That's
Donegal County Council, Rathmullen Sailing and Water Sports Club cordially invite you to the official reopening of Rathmullen Pier in conjunction with the annual Blessing of the Boats. Venue, Rathmullen Pier. The date, Friday the 30th of May. Time, 8 p.m. 30th of May. Today, 8th.
30th.
Yeah.
I thought
Today.
you were saying the 30th.
Sorry. 8 p.m.
Tonight. Great
Yes.
stuff. Coincides with the high tide. Thanks very
There
much
you
indeed.
go. No bother. It
All
was
right.
tiny, wasn't it?
Beg your pardon.
Tiny letters.
I mean, I could read it,
Yes.
but my eyes would just be crossed for the rest of the day. I'm disappointed you didn't read it in Irish. I produced it in both Irish and English for you. All right, back with Michael and Fanula after these.
Whether it's muddy boots or outdoor gear, Cherrymore's premium kitchen and storage solutions bring style and function to your boot room or utility. Learn more at cherrymore.ie, proud sponsors of today's show. Sprain, minor injury, cuts, burns, just not feeling well? Skip the hospital long wait. Get seen fast at the Ophidia Minor Injuries and Illness Clinic located at Scally Place, Letterkenny. No appointment needed, just walk in. We're open Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Charges will apply. Pay and reclaim with PHI. Ophidia, expert care when you need it. Visit ophidia.ie for more.
Go electric during our 252 event and discover our full range of rewired iconic Ford cars, including the all-electric Explorer, the all-new Capri, and the Puma has gone fully electric, starting from €29,900. Ford have gone electric. Ireland is going electric. So what's stopping you? Go electric. Book your test drive at Ford.ie. Offer ends 15th of June. Price includes grant and BRT relief and excludes delivery and related charges. T's and C's apply.
The Inish Tractor Run 2025 in aid of the Donegal Hospice, Friends of Inishowen Hospice and Bumbulance is on Sunday, June the 1st. Leaving from Bamba's Crown at 11. Everyone's invited to the big barbecue afterwards with an array of country music talent, including Mike Denver, Gary Fitzpatrick, Michaela Harkin, Shuni Crampsey and Liam McDermott at the Stables Malin. Buy tickets online or limited at the door. This ad is kindly sponsored by Donegal Tile Centre, just off the Polestar roundabout Letterkenny, the home of better deals.
The days are getting longer, the sun is making an appearance, and that means barbecue season is just around the corner. At Maple stores across the county, we've got you covered with quality charcoal, fresh meats, and all your sunny day essentials. Pick up something refreshing to toast in the sunshine, treat the kids or yourself to some delicious whipped ice cream, and don't forget your favourite Maple coffee. Follow your local Maple store on Facebook for weekly offers, and remember, we also sell fuel too. Maple stores. Fresh, convenient, local.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Get set for summer with all new arrivals dropping every week, from fashion to footwear and homeware to cosmetics. Discover more in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Right, so today, after a rather cloudy start with patchy mist and drizzle, there'll be some clear spells and perhaps somebody breaks later this afternoon. However, Later, more cloud and patchy drizzle will drift in from the west. Highest temperatures of 16 to 18 degrees. You're welcome back to the 9 till noon show. We're in the company of Michael and Fionnuala. Just to let you know, by the way, at 7 o'clock this evening, you can tune into the Donegal International Rally social media page and also Highland Radio's page and join Oisín Kelly and a host of guests as they officially launch the Donegal International Rally for this year. So that's a huge event. The launch of it takes place tonight, and you can watch proceedings. They're being broadcast from Letterkenny on the Donegal International Rally Facebook page and on Highland socials from 7 o'clock this very evening, if you don't mind. I somehow managed to get myself roped into that, but anyway, which is all good. It should be good. And then I'll head down to see you.
Oh, right.
Where Fionnuala's actually out in the wild. Yeah, in the wild. Normally we see her, she'll be hopping over, peeping over the tall grass to spot her prey.
David Attenborough will be commenting.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
That's it.
This is taking
You
an
really
interesting
think
turn.
my nightlife is much more exciting than it is.
Oh.
Hasn't been like that since the 80s, sadly.
No, and you know what? Do you miss it?
Oh, God, no.
I don't miss it.
Who has the energy?
Yeah, I don't have the energy for it anymore.
It's the beauty of getting older.
Yes, Department Q on Netflix, is it?
Yeah. So Department Q, and I've only managed to watch the first one, but I'm glad I get a chance to mention it because it is really good. And it's only just dropped last night. So this is why I haven't had a chance to watch more of it. Normally I would end up sitting up, but there's 9 episodes, so even I couldn't give it 9 hours last night.
I don't know. I think you've banged out 3 or 4 episodes of something that started at midnight before.
Yeah,
I have.
You do have 4.
I know, but I have to be better. I have to just be better. And also, my house is upside down with the move, so it's all over the place. So basically, anyways, this is Department Q. It was flagged as kind of being their big summer thing for Netflix. It's gotten some fantastic reviews online, so I was kind of looking out for it and waiting for it to come. It stars Matthew Good, who's the main person. Matthew Good is one of those actors who you may not recognise his name, but you will 100% recognise his face. He plays a very kind of, British thing, to my mind, in things that he's been in. He's been in Downton, he's been in Imitation Game. He was
Good
in
Wife.
The Good Wife.
Loved
he was
him in
a
The Good
few
Wife.
things.
Late
Kelly
seasons.
MacDonald is another actress that some people will recognise her name, but everybody will recognise her face. She's been in loads and loads of different things, and Shirley Henderson goes back to 4 Weddings and a Funeral. So they're all very well up. This is based on a series of Danish books, which to me, that just ticks my box all the way because for some reason...
Scandinavia, they do it well.
Oh my God. They do. Well, they haven't made this now. It's been adapted for the UK, but they're always quirky.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
watched
There's an edge
anything
to
over
them.
there that you're not like going, what is this? You know the way... any of the stuff that's written in the books, it's definitely a part of the world I'm going to have to go and explore more. Because if the people that live there are anything like the books that they write, very interesting place. So this is based on a series of Danish books, but what they've done is they've adapted it for the UK and it's set in Scotland. Matthew Good is a detective. We've seen kind of the basic arc of it in different things. He's a detective and he's had a very traumatic experience, and then suddenly he's been shunted over because of what has happened to him into like a cold case team that he's running, and the cold case team is full of all these people that are a little bit quirky and kind of go their own thing, but it's just really interesting and really well done, and they're really good characters in it. So
Is it like Slow Horses as a cop show?
It's not quite as intense as that.
Okay.
The way there's a lighter kind of a side to it and that with it. But yes, it is. As I said, I've only watched the first one, but it's very interesting. But it's getting massive reviews, so it's definitely one if the bad weather actually turns.
Yeah.
If not, be out and about. But if bad weather turns, it's definitely worth looking at.
All the usual cliches aren't missing, are they? That we see in detective shows.
No, it's got all its bits and pieces. It's just the cast is
Familiar,
phenomenal in it, and it's just look at cop shows if you watch them, and I watch loads of them, and I'm always looking for ones because to be honest, they've gotten rid of so many of them.
It's
you
so
know the
true.
way they've they finished Endeavour, they finished Vera's finished, they finished Lewis, they finished everything. So all of these ones that really were the staple of the kind of the 90s and the noughties and that have all sort of fallen by the wayside now.
Is this one episodic? Is the first episode a full case, or do we have to watch 9 episodes to get the case?
No, it's a bit. It kind of has both. There's sort of like arching stories, but most of it is that there's a full case in it as well.
Okay.
And I was running through the reviews, and the negative reviews are those who watch either watch the Danish TV series of it or read the books. So, you know,
they're comparing,
and it's going to be like The Bridge, isn't it? Where people compare
I've seen the original,
and that. But
and that was an amazing TV show. I can't even imagine. Oh yeah, no, really good. I'm really looking forward now to kind of getting in and watching it all the way through. There just really has a really good feel about it, and I think it's going to be well worth
know
watching.
exactly what you're on about when you watch the first episode or something, and you think, right, I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, I'm going to like it. Yeah.
Okay, that's Department Q. I did note actually in reading some about it, it was on Netflix and then came off it and was on it and off it again. But that's probably just a tech issue, which I'm sure it's been resolved by.
Maybe
now.
demand, maybe got in the way of their servers. Who knows?
Possibly, although you would imagine. Right, BBC One, The Heat.
The Heat. Oh yes,
Got
love
any
this
minutes
film.
on this one?
Yeah, it's very like this is the Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy movie. They did two.
It's funny.
Yes,
it's really funny,
so
this.
funny. They
this
didn't
is one of the films where I started changing my views on Sandra Bullock.
Oh
I used to
really? You
think
didn't like her before?
Well, when she was in the film, I know you love her by the way, but I just thought when she was in the film, she just said this character.
Yes.
But then I started watching her in different stuff, and
she's great
and
at comedy.
You know
yeah.
what? Actually,
Yeah.
but she was also great in that space film.
Oh, she was. Yeah, I love that film as well. Yeah.
And that one where she has a blindfold on.
This was great. They did another movie together about spies. They should have done a sequel to The Heat, I think, because it's so funny. They're mismatched cops. That's all you need to know going in. It's on tonight on BBC One at 10:40. Again, if you're sitting in tonight, it's hilarious whether you've seen it. I mean, I would watch it again.
Yeah, I've watched it a few times.
It's so funny, and they're so good together. Melissa McCarthy at that time could do no wrong. Those days are sort of gone now. She sort of has had a lot of misfires, so it's great. I would imagine
Because she didn't change.
Revisit.
She
yes,
didn't change.
she got
She's
stuck in a
just
rut. Yeah,
done
doing a lot of
you know, her weight being part of her humour and
being a bit foul-mouthed. Yeah,
coarseness,
exactly. Yeah.
So kinda,
but this is her in her prime.
Tawdry. She's a bit
tawdry. Yes. You're blushing as you watch the film. I know.
It's dramatic though.
This is so good.
Yeah, but it's just the it's
sameness.
It's just the sameness in the comedy.
Oh yeah, they did
Yeah.
that Thunder.
Oh, the superhero thing.
Yeah. Oh god, it was a
ghastly.
It was terrible.
That was one
really
of the worst.
That's
an actual bad film. Yeah, really bad.
And
film.
a lot of the stuff, and you can see often from the cutouts, is ad-libbed. So she'll try and say something funny 50 times, and then they'll choose one that works.
But to be honest, though, I know you're crazy about
they
Sandra Bullock, but Sandra Bullock is a bit Tom Cruisey in the sense that I don't think she's done a bad. No, but I don't think she's done a bad.
No.
Like, I'm not sure I've seen her in anything that I think she should be getting like Oscars or stuff like that.
No, but she always delivers.
It's always an
I think
entertaining.
Murder by Numbers is a great
excellent
film.
movie. And it's based on a true story. It's so good. Do you remember The Net back in the day?
Yes, of course.
I watched The Net this year.
Yeah, I think it came out on one of the
Imagine it holds up
But
really
I
well.
went back watching her films that I poo-pooed because I thought I didn't like her. So I've watched Murder
And
by
you've
Numbers.
reevaluated favourably.
Yeah, of course.
Good.
Yeah. No, in fairness, I like her.
We have to go. Thank you very much for being part of this segment.
Oh, it's been amazing.
You still retain ownership of the station, so it'll be nice.
Yeah, you have to say nice things.
Michael, we'll hopefully re-engage again after the summer
great
if you're
fun,
available.
great
but
fun,
we've
great
had
fun.
a wonderful thing, and you
It's
as a
been
team have
fantastic.
been incredibly
Great fun.
popular together. So
I know. No, Kevin hasn't texted us at all.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Very,
okay. Well, maybe
very
he's too
upset.
upset.
Oh,
Yes, yeah.
Well, Kevin, if you get
I'm
one,
proud.
I know, Kevin. I'm very sorry.
proud.
We never got to meet you, Kevin.
I held it together. I said Wednesday I'd probably be crying by the time 12 o'clock, but I've held it. Oh no, I shouldn't have said that.
All right, so this door in its current force, in its current format, closes, and potentially another door opens. Donna Marie Doherty sitting in for John Bresson around the Northwest. So stay tuned for that. It's her first time, I think, sitting in for John, and I have absolutely no doubt she'll do a fantastic job in relation to that.
Of course.
Fanula, thank
Cheers.
you. Mihal, Michael, thank you
pleasure.
very much
Thank
indeed.
you.
We'll be back. On Tuesday, I've got Monday off. Hey, I just realised. Okay, we'll be back on Tuesday. Have a fantastic weekend. And if you're working, as many of you are, I hope it doesn't. I hope people are polite to you. By the way, over the weekend, a lot of people are working in the bars and restaurants, and they're going to be wedged. And be nice, be polite, have a little bit of patience, and maybe drop them a few pennies as a tip, euros. You know what I mean. But anyway.